welcome to episode 194 of Zapped to the Past. I am Adrian Mills. I'm joined as always by Mr. Graham Raddings. If you haven't listened before, this is a podcast where we discuss games that were released for the Commodore 64. We're using the magazine Zapped 64 as a monthly guide for the games to focus on, but we are no way affiliated with Zapped 64 itself. This week, we start our look at December 1991 and the first batch of games reviewed in issue 79 of Zapped 64, along with what was also going on in the UK singles and albums chart in November 1991. Stay with us. Graham, are we likely to go into insolvency anytime soon? Or can the Zapped to the Past truck keep on trucking?
Well, it's November 1991, and even though there was no issue of Zapped for this month because it temporarily didn't exist, we're going to make it all make sense one way or another anyway. So in a month that also saw the very first TV condom advert aired on the Fox TV channel in the US, we take another trip into the dystopian, angry world of futuristic television game shows, this time adopting a much better idea of destroying and grabbing everything we can in the C64 conversion of the classic arcade, Smash TV. And then, in a change of pace, we climb into the cockpit of a giant robotic turtle walker and stroll around some underground rail passages shooting motorised shopping carts. Yeah, in the pointless Robozone. So no November issue, but a December issue of Zapped with twice as much stuff. It all sounds a bit fraught, but at least we can continue our relentless march through all the amazing, quality games. Yeah. So while we start the countdown clock on the issues of Zapped remaining, we pop to another dystopian world, this time the criminal-ridden, kidnappy world of Metro City, as we take on the Mad Gear gang and go on a rescue mission. It can only be that we're looking at the C64 conversion of the all-powerful Mega Arcade Final Fight, before we finally head back to the sports field, bat in hand, ball in glove, and eyeballs set for strain to read mode as we peruse the stats, bats, hats, and mysteries of Tony La Russa's Ultimate Baseball. 2 arcade conversions in this episode. One of them is excellent, the other is a flappy nightmare. You'll know which is which soon enough, and only one of those games is going to incur the wrath of an ex-wrestling mayor. You can sort of see how it got complicated. Yeah. So it's like some kind of weird memory loss month where just nothing. I mean, it must have been weird at the time when nothing appeared on the shelves and people are like, where is it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Commodore 4, I don't know. For those who don't know, okay, so I've got the details here. So basically what happened was there was no November 1991 issue of Zapped. Zapped went bust. They went out of business, basically. You can read all about this. There's an editorial online where they kind of sort of obviously got the editorial from the December 1991 episode. So after, I'll just give you a quick précis. After 8 valiant years, it says, and 2 best 8-bit mags in the business, Newsfield found itself short of cash. We were told that the failure of LM, Newsfield's general interest you title back in 97, and Movie the year after were probably to blame. And the recession, of course. We have to remember that there was a recession going on at the time and stuff. So
a big one, yeah.
And we'd been, the other thing we had been mentioning over the last 2 episodes was the lack of advertising in the magazine. That's never going to be good. All the magazines plus games, computer t-shirts, and Robin Hood joystick got collected by the liquidators to be sold off. The mags went up for auction, and immediately the bids started coming in. One big London publisher wanted to set up a special company here in Ludlow to run Zapped. Another future publishing who did Commodore format. They wanted Zapp and Crash. They claimed it was not to kill it off, but they were very strong titles, and we certainly didn't want them to die. But they had several options anyway. But rescue was at hand. Roger Keane, once a Zapp editor and a Newsfield director, got together with a very own cover illustrator. I'm just reading the editorial. Cover illustrator Oliver Frey and Jonathan Rignall to raise finance through Europress, who did Games X, Amiga Action, ST Action, and also was founded Europress Impact, still in Ludlow, and their bid for Crash and Zapp won the day. So there you go. So Newsfield are out, and they're now Impact, whatever that is. So
just for the record, we are still not affiliated with them in any way. Whether they changed publisher or whatever. It makes no odds to us.
No, it didn't. We just carried on. So they got a load of new stuff. And that's what happened. So that's why there was no November. I'm amazed all this happened in like a month.
It is quite a fast turnaround, even for that kind of thing, really. But
yeah, but
strange.
But they came back and they're back. So there we go. But what that means is we have no November 1991. So I think we said this last time. So what we've done. There's 16 games across, which obviously would spread out to 8 per mag. So we're going to do 4 episodes. And within that, we're going to cover, music, as we're doing music for November, films for November, then we'll do music for December, over those 4 films for December, TV stuff. It makes sense, and it works out quite nicely. But, so for us, it's really no different. We're now up to Christmas.
We don't have a November issue cover to look at.
No, we don't. But we do have a December issue cover to look at. So
what are we going to look at when we get to that? What cover are we going to look at in episode 196?
We won't. We'll just carry these on. These will just be a 4-parter. Yeah, because they're all in one mag. They're all in.
We could always just look at the top half of the cover if it bothers you. We'll look at the bottom half or the left or the right. You can choose how we divide that, really.
We could look at the back cover.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea.
At the back. Yeah. What's on the back? Probably an Ocean advert, but who knows?
More than likely. Yeah.
More than likely. Anyway, but yeah, so Zapped 64 back. It is Europress Impact. You can see that at the top there, £2.20. Which is good. Fact, Graham, the original and best Commodore 64 action mag is still there. Still don't know what it means.
It's not the original, is it? Because it's a new one. It's the new original.
It's the Thamesman. It's the Thamesman of...
it is. The regulars. They were the regulars, magazines. And then we said, should we be the regulars? And then...
with the originals, but could be them, the new... whoever. This is Smash TV on the cover, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's a really good cover as well, actually.
He does. He looks like he's been hit somewhere painful. I'll say that for him.
Yeah, it's gritty. I like this cover. It's sort of a bit of a, considering that crappy one that we had when it was the Silver Surfer, or whatever it was.
The T1000.
T1000. This is such a return to form for a proper old school Ollie Frey looking cover. This, he's got a good facial grimace going on and a bit of gnarly teeth and mud spattered face. And I really like this cover. I think it's excellent. So I don't know that it wholly represents Smash TV, but I suppose it does because of the nature of what you do in it. But it's brilliantly drawn. I mean, goodness me. That's the one thing. It reminded me of the Green Beret cover in the sense that it's the same sort of angry, military-esque, hardened, battle-weary face. It's a good expression on that. It's
very similar to that Green Beret. Now you've mentioned that, actually, yeah. Yeah, that sort of close-up of the face and stuff.
I love the shading and the sort of grit of the... because he's in some kind of power armor or a variation of armor with weaponry and things around, a bit like a RoboCop kind of view, really. Yeah. But it's exceptional. I also think it's brilliant that right at the front of his mouth unit, he's got a kind of an adapter for different plug sockets. That shows you that the diversity of the kind. He could have anything plugged into there from anywhere in the world. Brilliant. That. I mean, that's what you call a power suit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got 2-pin, 3-pin. It's all in one.
Exactly. You can charge that from anywhere. Brilliant. I mean, that's the early commitment to the various, types of power socket and charger that you can get. Because I was away recently, and that's actually looks a bit like the socket that I had. So that was quite good.
Yeah, it would be. I like the little bit of smoke coming out the gun on his shoulder as well.
That's nice. It's brilliant. Nice. I'd like to have seen, he's got like a light, a bit like the arc light of Iron Man's on his chest there. I'd like to have seen that illuminated a bit. I think that would have, with a bit of a glow, I think that would have really elevated that suit. But it would have looked a bit too much like Iron Man, I think, if they'd have done that.
Quite possibly, yeah. But then was Iron Man really a consideration back in the UK in 1991?
Well, it was a big comic, wasn't it? Iron Man and all of the Marvel stuff. I mean, I've been shielded from the world of Marvel up until all the 1700... that wasn't even intentional, but you can't help yourself, can you, with Marvel? And then, so I have, quote unquote, shielded myself from it. But then once the 67 movies came out, and that's all they made, and that's the only films that came out for a while, for that 2-year period where everything was Marvel, I didn't really have any choice but to watch Marvel movies because they were the only ones really being made of any spectacular appeal.
Yeah, they were.
And it seems like that battle between them and what's the other cat? Is it DC?
DC, yeah.
And they just don't seem to be able to get it right, do they? I mean, their most recent Superman is rubbish, really rubbish.
Is it? I've not seen it yet, so...
Just stop making them. Stop. Do we need more? I mean, who cares now how Superman got here? Does it matter whether he was blown up and sent here in a space egg or whatever the hell it was? It doesn't matter. No. Who cares? Just doesn't matter.
I mean, let's face it, DC's Batman. That's all anyone cares about, is Batman.
Yeah. I mean, even then,
it's the more interesting character. I like the more recent Robert Pattinson one. I love the Nolan trilogy.
I suppose. But then they've ruined that, haven't they, by putting all of the Batman and Aquaman and God knows who else is in
the Justice League stuff.
Yeah, I think that's got to because you have to have that if you've got the Avengers. I don't know why we've been talking about the Avengers, but that's what Marvel does. You see, it takes over.
It does because we're now a Marvel podcast.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Somehow, yeah. We're talking about Iron Man. But anyway, the long and the short of all of that was that it's an excellently drawn cover with obviously Smash TV. It says there's a free poster calendar. I read in that blurb that there's a big A2 poster that Ollie Frey drew specifically for that issue. I imagine that's probably pretty cool, whatever that looks like. There must be somebody out there that's probably got that, which is probably nowadays probably worth 10 quid or something. Other than that, you've got the obligatory cover tape, of course, with Boulder Dash mainly and Spy vs. Spy 2. So I don't know if that Boulder Dash construction kit's worth it. It's pretty good. Boulder Dash 4 was a good game. But
the Boulder Dash games are always good.
Yeah, and Spy vs. Spy 2, well, you weren't going to like it, were you? Because you're not a big fan of them.
I was never going to like it. No.
And in all fairness, it's just more of the same with, if you like it, you
on
like
an
it.
island.
Yeah, on the end. There was some, I remember when we looked back at that way back in episode, whatever the hell it was, we didn't get along with it. There were some weird quirks about it. It was graphically okay, but it was still a bit, it wasn't much of an advance on the original Spy vs. Spy, as I recall.
No, but you could have lots of fun with the Boulder Dash construction kit.
Yeah, and I noticed, you see that it says WWF become a Hulkamaniac. That shows you how old it is, because of course now it's not WWF, because that would imply that the Hulk Hogan was fighting pandas, which seems alarming and dangerous at the same time for them. I think mainly, not for him.
Yeah, pandas. Yeah,
because of course he was the inbound wrestler for the World Wildlife Fund. So that must have been a strange discussion between the World Wildlife Fund and the World Wrestling Federation at the time to decide who was going to win that. I wonder if they wrestled it out and went into the ring.
It probably did. What would the world? I mean, you got the World Wildlife Fund. They got to win out. They're going to put like a bear in.
Yeah, but I want there to be like a moment. Where they have that bit before the wrestling match where they sort of talk to the camera. I want to see not Hulk Hogan's, because he always just, what are you going to do when Hulkamania rumbles and all that rubbish that he spouted, dressed in his banana hankies. I want to see what the WWF put forward. Was it an animal that just growled and like a bear and a lion? And that'd be great. Oh, was it a man dressed as that? Which is, it conjures up images of that Cats movie where it's just like,
maybe it was,
I'm going to scratch the eyes out of that Hulkamaniac. Meow.
Imagine it's just a WWF. Right, we need a wrestler. Derek, you're quite big. You in accounts. You can go do it.
Put that panda suit on. It's way too small. I know. In you go.
It smells funny in here.
Don't worry. With the techniques of modern editing, we won't need you to. You don't need to worry about it. You'll look like the real deal. Don't you worry about that.
Absolutely. I also, Graham, what's this? Win 3 TIB 3.5-inch drives. I don't want 3. I just want the 1. But what's TIB mean? Any idea?
I don't know. Is that the manufacturer, or I don't know? There's no clue. I think in order to win those, you need to identify what that means. That's the competition.
TIB, what's it? What is it?
I don't know. Turn in bed, twist in bananas. I don't bloody know what that means. I don't know. You could look it up.
I thought it might be an old tech term that you might have been familiar with. So,
it probably is, but no, I didn't really experience 3.5 disk drives until the Amiga. And what we called them back then, humorously, was 3.5-inch disk drives. We didn't have weird acronyms for them. They just were what they were.
Oh, yeah, they were. That was all they were.
They weren't like old Clacky, the 1541's Clacky. He was old Clacky. Come on, Clacky. Ga. You always do that when I switch you on, don't you, Clacky?
It's his way of letting you know he's there.
Loudly, yeah. And everyone in the house as well at 4 a.m. when you don't want to wake everybody up. Yeah.
No. But there you go. There's the cover. It's a good cover. They're back. Zapp's back. For another 10 months.
Yeah. At least it's back.
Or 11 months. I think November 92 and then we're done. But it is back. It is back. So we've got games to review and
one more year to go. My gosh, that means it's literally 1 year, one Zap year to go, right?
We have 12 issues left.
Wow, okay, the journey is coming to its end. My gosh, that's kind of a bit of an odd realization, isn't it?
Yeah, we're nearly there.
People said we weren't going to make it, and they were nearly right, because there's been times when I've actually wanted to push my eyes out with pencils. So,
absolutely, and this constant elite discussion going on and on. Like, just
get your late to the Dizzo t-shirts. Brave people have already bought one.
Yeah, absolutely, they have.
Some people are recognizing the design genius of that t-shirt. Not me, though. I don't think anyone outside of our patrons are ever going to understand what that means. But that's good. I love that. And thank you, David O'Hearn. Why is he David O'Hearn? He's not Irish. David Hearn.
Irish.
David O'Hearn. Thank you, David O'Hearn, for buying the t-shirt.
Oh,
David
he's
O'Hearn.
Love that. Oh dear. Yeah. It's been top of the morning to be supported by
That's DavidO'Hearn.com. It's the Irish non-union equivalent of David Hearn.
It is indeed. Right, look, should we get on to some games?
I think we better, quick.
I think we better.
David
quick.
O'Hearn will be angry.
He will.
No, I won't. He will.
I'm angry. Another terrible accent. Let's move on. We've got 4 games this week. The first 4 games of the 16 that are in this episode, in this magazine. Let's get to the very first one of those. And Graham, well, it's over to you. It was the cover. Tell us all about Smash TV.
Okay, this is actually a pretty important game for many different and odd reasons, as I've discovered. This was released by Ocean, published by Ocean. Smash TV, 1099s, so full whack. But it scored 93% in the new pages of New Zap, in the new original Zap. It's copyright Williams Electronics, because of course this is its home was the arcades originally. This version for the C64, though, developed by Probe Software, who had a pretty good track record with Ocean. I think, generally speaking, most Probe games, or some of them have been pretty good. This is produced by Neil Young, when he wasn't rocking in the free world, of course. And he's the guy that produced RoboCop 3 and Outrun Europa, which weren't ace, but okay, he's the producer. He produced them.
RoboCop 3 yet? We haven't done RoboCop 3 yet.
No, that's coming. That's coming in 1990. I think we'll get to it.
Yeah, we do.
But he did Outrun Europa. This is coded by Nick Jones, of course, after he got thrown out of a window in Detroit, or old Detroit, should I say? Or was it New Detroit? It doesn't really matter. He did Dan Dare 3, Stormlord, and Stormlord 2, Supremacy. So very competent coder is old Nick Jones, and he's got a good track record, actually. The graphics here are by Lee Ames. He did North and South and Viz the Game. Now, we don't really rate those games highly, but we did say of Viz, the graphics for what they were pretty good and true to Viz. And North and South graphics weren't terrible, as far as I remember. Pretty good. And the musician, of course, is Haroon Tell. Mr. Tell to you and me. He's related, actually, to William Tell. I don't know if you know that. Not the William Tell of the archery fame. No, not that William Tell. Another William Tell who's not famous for archery, or just a similar name. It's a Similoid. He's done loads of music. I mean, goodness, Battle Valley, Combat Crazy, Dan Dare 3, Cybernoid, Eliminator, Gapless, Golden Axe, Hawkeye, Iron Lord, Lemmings, loads. Tons of it. Outrun Europa and all that. He's pretty good. Pretty good stuff. Got a soft spot for the old Mr. Tell. So there we go. This was out on everything, though, and has been out on everything, and then consistently in the gaming world since it came out in 1990 in the arcades. So by order and process, we have 1990. It began in the arcades, and it went to the Genesis, the Amiga, the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Atari ST, the Commodore 64, the ZX Spectrum, the Amstrad CPC, the SNES, the Game Gear, the Sega Master System, the Xbox 360, and finally, in 2021, the Antstream streaming service that you've spoken about before. So, wow. Out on everything. Probably just come out on something else right now, just because I've said it. You can do it. If you say it 5 times, it summons it like Candyman, and just another one will appear in another format somewhere. But there's a reason for that. So what's it all about? Before I dive into the C64 game, let's just go through what Smash TV will forever be. It's a 1990 arcade video game created by one Eugene Jarvis. Now, of course, he's a name that's done the rounds, isn't he? Mr. Williams, Mr. Narc, amongst many other things, and Defender, of course, and loads of other stuff. Robotron. This game is a twin-stick shooter in the same vein, actually, as 1982's Robotron 2084, which was, again, like I said, co-created by Eugene Jarvis. He's been in the arcade game and game design game for a while, knows his onions, I would say.
He certainly does. This
game takes place in the dystopian television game show. This is from the wiki, in the then future year of 1999. 1 or 2 contestants shoot waves of attackers while collecting money, prizes, and temporary power-ups. After an arena has been cleared of adversaries, the contestants choose an exit, each leading to another room. One room contains an end-of-level boss. With 2 players, the game is cooperative, but at the end of the level, the player who collected the most cash and prizes receives an extra reward. The arcade game has a high difficulty and leans on being able to pay to continue, doesn't it just? The bonus feature was added after release, allowing players to collect keys throughout the levels to reach the Pleasure Dome. Ooh. So this is the C64 conversion of that. It's a fairly simple premise for a game, actually, really, for this. And one that looks and feels like a NARC variant, I think, for good reason. If you looked at the arcade of this, which I did, you'll sort of realize that this is kind of leaning on the NARC hardware, or should I say maybe NARC. They're of the same genus. They even use the same typeface, for goodness sake, on the main menu screens in the arcades, and the same sounds generally. There's a look. There's a look to this. Yeah. A very 80s kind of resonance to all of it. Not a bad thing at all. I didn't actually go and play the arcade, although I did look at a YouTube because I wanted to just see how well this C64 version compared, like for like, shot for shot, as it were. And also, I think it's worth noting that I played both the disc version of this and also the cartridge Easy Flash version of this, which I think it's safe to say was a version. I think the cartridge might have been a version of the tape version. It's a bit odd the way that cartridges Easy Flash games are converted. So let's just talk a little bit about the scenario for this then. Now, this is off the instruction sheet for the game. It says, scenario, bored with TV game shows? Are you, Adrian? Are you bored of them?
Very much so.
If so, prepare yourself for the ultimate game show challenge. That's in caps, so I've got to speak loudly for that bit. The prizes are wild. The stakes are incredibly high. And are you mean enough to take part? If you accept, you stand to win enough money and prizes to make you fabulously wealthy, and a lot of VCRs, I think. Not forgetting the adoration of the totally TV-oriented society. If you lose, you die. Good luck, and remember, smile, you're on TV. Now, the premise for this owes a lot to, I think, the Running Man, that kind of idea, really. So it is kind of a Running Man-y type vibe, really. But luckily for us, the instructions, because the instructions that come with the game, such as it was the ones that have been, we were playing a cracked variation, and there's not a lot to that. I found the actual instruction sheets for this, which have got a bit extra in, which is quite interesting. So I'll skip the bit where it says status and scoring, because there's a big, fairly chunky section on gameplay, which isn't done in the usual way. So it says, the cheering from the ecstatic crowd fades away as you leave the safety of the studio and enter the first of the 4 insanely dangerous and devious gaming arenas. Instantly, you are set upon by hordes of thugs wielding baseball bats, each with only one intent, beating the living daylights out of you. Deal with these guys if you can. There are lots of them. Use your skills to navigate the arenas and collect power-ups, speed-ups, spinning shurikens, mace balls, grenades, and rocket launchers, multiples, and of course, smart bombs. All of these items will increase your ability to wreak havoc upon the mindless meatheads. Watch out for mines, though. Wall-mounted gunners and tanks will constantly make your task just that bit harder than it already is. However, you will find yourself relentlessly driven on by the lure of the countless prizes awaiting you. It doesn't seem so bad to be risking life and limb when you're winning holidays, sleek roadsters, luggage, and of course, mind-bending amounts of cash. As you progress through the game zones, you will encounter floating droids, electric pulse-generating orbs, poisonous snakes, walking time bombs, mutant lizard men, and countless other mechanical and biological opponents you ain't never heard of. However, you haven't seen the worst of it yet. Prepare yourself for the end-of-level baddies who will make you regret your decision to enter this gladiatorial-like game at all. For example, at the end of level 1, you will encounter a huge mutant skinhead on a tank. He will do his utmost to crush you underfoot and track, and he is the easiest opponent of them all. If you make it through all 4 of the nightmarish game zones, you will confront your final and most lethal challenge, the game show host himself. Sounds easy? Think again. He's insane, enormous, and can understand only one thing: total carnage. Defeat him if you can. The rewards are well worth it. Good luck, and remember, smile, you're on TV. I quite like that as an instruction set. I felt it really fitted, because normally when they do this, and Ocean have tended to have always got it wrong. And they've actually, I think they must have created that and admonished it a bit, because the arcades is the instruction set is far more perfunctory than that. But I quite like that. I think it sets the scene nicely for the game. So let's talk about the game then. What are we looking at here? So things I think start well with the C64 version, in all fairness. Most of the arcade track sequence and intro logic is there, and the music is pretty good, has to be said at this point. Mm-hmm. Presentation-wise, this already felt good to me. Already had that in the bag. Nice intro sequence, a decent version of the arcade title screen as the loading screen. So far, so good, has to be said. The game start screen / title screen graphics, they get a little bit more perfunctory, but in keeping things simple, you're straight into the action after selecting your move. Then fire modes with the F key, so you can choose to whether you have keyboard and joystick or joystick and keyboard or combinations. But either way, this is one player game only though. One of the caveats of having this on the C64 version is that they're missing the second player option, which I think a little bit of an omission, if I'm honest, but okay. Anyway, you'll do those things and the game will begin. And what you have here is a very competent and more or less fully complete conversion of the arcade. The game looks remarkably like the arcade, I thought, albeit with the C64 color schemes and resolution. Okay, so you enter the room screen and at the beginning, and shortly afterwards, so will a bunch of enemies. You must blast them all as they appear in droves and then collect the various upgrades, cash and prizes until you are given an exit. From there, you move to the next screen and continue the battle. Of course, each screen has various enemies with a range of skills and powers. Some require multiple shots or more powerful weapons. Some will shoot at you, drop bombs and such, as I explained earlier. What's true of the arcade is also true of this here. And in a similar way to Robotron, you must literally blast and collect everything you can in order to make your way to the final room and the end of arena boss. The arenas have multiple rooms, and when you complete each one, you can see a mini-map of where you might want to go next based on the exit. Some of the rooms have Some of the rooms have multiple exits, so you need to choose. The game is shown from above, not completely orthographic, as there is a decent angle of perspective, giving a hint of depth and view of the side walls and exits. Also, some rooms have obstacles such as mines and other things that will remove one of your lives should you touch them. The main window is all game with the UI sitting on top for your score and energy levels and a numeric indicator on the right for your lives counter. Outside of that, it's all enemies and blasting, collecting everything in sight. You're always accumulating score in this, and VCRs as well, by the look of it. And remember, you're on a game show ultimately. So the idea is there's going to be prizes. I quite like the aesthetic of that. You know, every now and again, you get reminded that you're in a game show. In the other versions, there's a little bit more of that. And in the arcade, you get kind of little mini animations that pop up in the left-hand corner with the guy sort of surrounded by these two bimbo women. And he comes out with, obviously, speech and text. And there's a little bit of arcade razzmatazz that you're not going to get in this C64 version. But it doesn't really make a difference, I'll be honest. Doesn't really change anything. And the aesthetic of the arenas does change across the sort of all four of them. And each arena does have a sort of its own challenging boss. So all of it is there. All of that all sort of plays out and works to the advantage of that, which I think is pretty good. The graphics, I think, throughout the game are really good versions of the arcade, and there is plenty moving around. There's no slowdown in any of this. The graphics all charge onto the screen, and it is a kind of free-for-all. It's pretty good like that. It's all sound effects, though, in the game, and it's missing that kind of background music that drives things along, which is in the arcade. I think it would have helped. I don't think it hinders. It doesn't make it worse. I think it would have made it better. That's all. But the sounds are all pretty good. There's a really good soundscape design here. And there's certainly enough of those things and enough happening in this to keep you entertained. Now, I think I could be wrong, but there's a mixture of synthesized and possibly sampled sound in the C64 as well. I couldn't really tell. There's some good quality sounds in there. That's all I could tell you. However they've been generated. Good stuff. The C64 version is one player only, though, which I think is a mistake. I don't think it would have been a great stretch to make this two-player. I don't know. And I think that does add a nice dynamic to the play. So, okay, there's that. But the arcade is two-player, I suppose. But outside of that one thing, and that is the only gripe I have with this, there's a really solid conversion of the arcade that plays to almost all of the C64 strengths and doesn't try and do anything too radical or do anything badly wrong that otherwise affects the overall game design. And the great thing here, of course, is that, and we've said this many, many times, when you have a really strongly designed arcade game, and there is a game designer of Eugene Jarvis's standard, and of course his colleague, but Eugene Jarvis behind it, then you know that fundamentally the simple premises of the game and the mechanics that are involved in that and the way that the game is designed is going to be brilliant. And because it's brilliant, and because brilliant in this instance means keeping things relatively simple and iterating over, not making lots of complex plot and story or deriving anything like that, just making the sense of the game harder, those are really good things. And because it sticks to that, every version of this game has that simple logic. And because they all stick to that, they're all equally good and playable in their own different ways, whether they're on a Xbox 360 or whether they're on a Commodore 64. So I really like this. I've liked the arcade for a long time. It's not one of my go-to arcades, strange enough. If I see it, I probably have a blast on it now and again. And that's more me. That's not because it's not a good, fun game. It's more fun with the two players for a start, but it's just one of those games. But it appeals to me in the same way Narc appeals to me. If I see it, I'll go on it and I'll end up just keep continuing until I finish it, because I always end up doing that with Narc. And it has the exact same one more coin feel of Narc as well. And so does the C64 version. And by the way, in the C64 version, if you do lose all of your 9 lives, which you start with, you do get a continue option, and you can continue not permanently or in perpetuity, but you do get continues, which is another nice touch. So it just makes it feel more arcadey, which this really does. So I really like this. It's an adrenaline rush of a game. And now, of course, there's many similar modern titles that appeal to the kind of same endorphin addiction addicts that this does. So Vampire Survivors, for example, is just another version of this, albeit they've upped the ante on some of the the adrenaline-fueled weaponry and antics and all of that. But that is a variation of this, which is a variation of Robotron, where insurmountable odds all crams into one space. You've got to kind of survive and do stuff. That's a good format for a game. That's a classic, and especially with a single screen game, that you're in for a winner. So the format really, this is Robotron meets Robocop, Running Man meets Narc, meets a bit of Gauntlet. There's a bunch of different games with, all of those things are in here. That idea, that game design has a permanent place. It's one of the classic one-screen arcade games, one of the classic. And in fact, if you go and look into the deep dive into some of the hyperbole, if you like, that's written about this amongst all of this is classed as one of the greatest arcade games of all time. And it's earned that over the years. That's not something that was issued to at the time, although it was very popular. Over the years, people have just thought, this is one of the greats. And in fact, if you look at there's an entry in Twin Galaxies, where Twin Galaxies give various arcades, and this was awarded, I think, one of the 10 most important arcades of all time. So it's an important arcade because of the longevity of what it represents, the people that were involved, but fundamentally because it's almost like the perfect arcade game design. And you can tell because every version is just as good. Now, the C64 version is more than competent. I think this is one of the best conversions we've seen of any arcade. It's certainly up there in the top 10 of the arcade conversions of the C64. And I had a really good time with it. It's missing a couple of things. The in-game music could have been there and it could have had 2-player. Other than that, there's a great game here and I enjoyed it. And I was playing it for quite a while as well. It still has that compelling notion that when you get that continue on the screen, you're like, I have got to just smash that screen and get past that thing. It just has it. And I think it's great for that. So good job, Probe. You did a smashing job here. Pardon the pun. I thought it was really, really good. Again, like I said, a great arcade conversion of a great arcade. Well, good job, guys, because that could have gone wrong in a number of different ways, especially when you put Ocean on the a logo on the box. No brown envelopes of cash needed to say this one's great. 93%. I'd have been tempted to push this into gold medal territory if it was me. But that's Zapped for you, isn't it? So there you go. But I thought it was great. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, it continues to trend, doesn't it? We're here at the end of the year. Something appears like clockwork to make its pitch for the Bread Bin Awards.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Something just appears out of nowhere and you're like, oh, okay, we've got another one. Fine, later. Okay. But it does. And I think this is brilliant. It's one of those conversions. I think that this has no right working on the machine, just how much is moving about on screen.
It's pretty good like that.
All credit to Nick Jones. It's a stellar conversion of the arcade original. It's just incredible. I was playing it like, this shouldn't work. There's too much. Yeah,
there's loads.
I imagine that's why there's no 2-player. I imagine you put another player on there firing all them bullets and stuff. I think it would probably just tip the machine over the edge, maybe. But once you get playing, it's easy to take for granted just how much stuff is flying about on screen in terms of enemies, bullets, animations, collectibles, explosions, mines, people firing from outside, the little sort of gun turrets and things. There's just loads of stuff going on. This is an incredible version of the Smash TV. It just shouldn't work like this on the C64. There's the great use of color. I mean, it's black backgrounds, but the actual sprites are really good, are really nicely animated, really well drawn. The sort of enemy sprites, little green ones, and then there's the fast ones, the running ones, the tanks. It's just really good use. It all looks really great. It's great sound effects. Yeah, again, I just wonder whether there's enough space for music in there. I don't know, but there's all the weapons. The sound effects are great for the weapons. All the maps, the bosses, they're all here too. And you've got the option to configure this to almost play like a twin stick shooter.
You do.
Which is incredible back then. I think, is this the first? Maybe Ikari Warriors offers something similar. I can't remember if it did.
Possibly.
I think it's quite possible. But, the fact you can have an 8-way movement independent of 8-way shooting makes this a thoroughly enjoyable blast. I had a really good time with this. Hats off to Probe Development here. A great piece of work on the machine. Like Speedball 2 last month, it should have been a gold medal. It's another one. Just give it.
Fair.
I think there's enough going on here. Take a look at this and you go, yeah, it's a great game and it's a great conversion. So, why not? It shouldn't work on the machine. I don't know. There's simply too much stuff. There's so much detail and everything as well. I loved even just the little shield animation. You get the shield around you, just running into enemies and instead of blasting them.
Yeah, that shurikens when they appear, that blew my mind because I was like, there was so much already going on the screen and that appeared and it was just like, as arcade perfect, it was running at such a good frame rate. I was like, that's pretty spectacular coding going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick Jones clearly knows the machine. These when we get these late entry coders doing these things on this machine, they've learned, like we saw that when that Martin Piper guy did that breakdown of Swiv when you asked him to, and the multiplexer in Swiv is like incredible, and you're like, they know how to get this machine. The right coders know how to get this machine singing now, and here's a perfect example of this. I thought this was brilliant. I didn't write smashing. I can't believe I missed that pun. So a fire upon you for getting that one. But yeah, it's obvious. Should have been a gold medal. Great conversion. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, it should be 96, 97%.
Easily.
What's to knock it down to 7? I don't know. I don't get it. Just give it one. Just give it. Who cares? Anyway, there you go. Smash TV. I'm just going to think it's smashing. Yeah, really, really good. Really good. That's a nice way. That's a nice way to come back, isn't it? Nice way to come back from, your magazine's gone out and you come back with a big game like Smash TV. That's why you should give it a gold medal. It's like dump.
They should have. It seems stupid. That would have been. It's the perfect thing to do it with as well. But hey ho. Yeah,
we're back, and so there you go. Cool. Smash TV. Excellent stuff. Let's move on to our next game for this week. And it's Robozone. Hi, Robozone. Hey,
yeah.
Robozone. $10.99. It's got 45%.
Okay.
It's Robozone. It comes to C64 courtesy of ImageWorks. No, they did Speedball 2 last time.
They did.
This was created by David Wyatt. The producer was Arc Developments. And like I said, ImageWorks, they've done great things. Speedball 1, 2, Passing Shot, Fernandez Must Die, Bomboozle, loads of great games they've released. Bodes well, doesn't it? Unfortunately, they've also done Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, Predator 2, and Cisco Heat. We never looked at that, but I did have a look, and it's not good.
Not Ninja Turtles with the clever little turd.
Yeah. That Cisco Heat's got a rating on Lemon of 1.85. One of the lowest on there. I don't know.
That's not good.
Arc Developments, they did the Spinny Forgotten Worlds, Crackdown, Pang. They were all okay, I guess. They had issues, but they weren't terrible. They were all okay. David Wyatt, he's got credits on Castle Master for the Amiga and DOS, but nothing else for the C64. The game itself, it came out on the Amiga, ST, Spectrum, Amstrad, and C64. So it's it's a usual sort of suspects around for the time. And I think it's primary. This originated in the 16-bit world. I think this originated Amiga and ST probably.
Okay.
And I think it then got downported. So what's this Robozone all about? There's a fairly big story here. I'll go through it because it's one of those. From the very start of the Industrial Revolution back in the 18th century, mankind had been slowly killing the planet. Yeah. With the one hand, he has exhausted all of Mother Nature's natural resources, and with the other, he has repaid her by saturating the atmosphere with dirt and pollutants. As mankind stumbled into the polluted wake of the 21st century, the world's greatest brains began to realize that unless something was done immediately, life on Earth would soon become an out-of-date concept. The ultimate decision came from the highest corridors of power on the planet. Only those chosen few from each of the major population centers of the world would be saved, living a self-contained life on secretly built city ships far out to sea.
Okay.
Those left behind would have to fend for themselves in the mountains and the hills, away from the decaying cities. Their reasoning was logical, but without human compassion. Was it not better that a selected few survive and rebuild than none at all? They estimated that the pollution that hung over the cities would hopefully disappear, given a decade or two, so the order was given to construct Wolverine, large robots programmed to patrol deserted cities and keep them intact for the eventual return. At first, crime was rampant and Wolverine was faced with the conflict of programming. Their prime objective was to protect the city for the return of the chosen few, but the biggest danger to the city came from the criminal elements who still lived in it. Their most basic robotic law, preventing them from directly or indirectly harming human life. Yet they were unable to perform their prime directive without breaking this law. As a result, many of the Wolverine were destroyed by the humans, who were increasingly bitter against anything that represented the authorities who had abandoned them. Only a few short months after the Golden Voyage, a war had begun. Unfortunately, a third side was about to enter the fray. This is called the Coming of the Scavengers. They came from nowhere. At first, their purpose was not clear. The huge insect-like robots indulged in an orgy of destruction, tearing apart anything that stood in their way. See, the clever thing is, they didn't clearly get programmed with that stupid prime directive. Like, you don't have to give robots that prime directive. No one says you have to. Anyway, most of the people who had decided to stay in the cities fled as soon as the scavengers appeared, but a few opted to stay and live like rats in the ruins. After a few months of intense activity, the scavengers' purpose became clear. An enormous area around what used to be Central Park was completely leveled by them, and in its place was built a huge domed building. This is called the Furnace. The scavengers sent out raiding parties to scavenge metal and other alloys they could get their pincers on, and they then returned their bounty to the building where it was recycled and used for either the manufacture of more scavengers or another secret purpose. Naturally, the last of the Wolverine had to protect the city from these dark invaders, but their weaponry wasn't designed for full-scale combat. Slowly but surely, the Wolverine became more and more depleted until only one remained. The last remaining Wolverine has broken his programming, but has at a cost. His inbuilt library computer known as Oracle has been damaged beyond repair. His ability to defend himself has also been severely reduced. What little instrumentation he has that is working indicates that far from pollution levels falling, pollution is increasing at an alarming rate. All of the available data suggests that the major source of the new pollution emanates from the mysterious building that the scavengers have built in Central Park. If the pollution level continues to increase, Wolverine will soon be unable to function. His only course of action is to somehow repair his systems and destroy the buildings before it's too late. As always, things aren't quite that straightforward. There you go. That's
Blimey,
the story.
I feel like I'm going to go outside and it's going to be like 28 years later. It's just going to be desolate landscapes. What happened? It's so bleak.
Some old guy there going, did someone read the story to Robozone?
It's not the reading part. It's just long and bleak. It's like, goodness me, they were really into that.
They really were. That's nothing really. They were into that more than the game. That's what I'm going to say. They should have just read a book.
Put a lot into that. Yeah, that was a lot into that. That was
or a comic.
Good effort. Good golf clap for that. Good effort, Sam. Golf clap. Golf clap.
Mark, what's his face, is nowhere to be seen, which is a good thing. So as we've seen many a time, though, a good overblown story always leads to a good game, right? Yeah. Okay. So this has a loading tune and screen. The music when it loads is okay. It's all you get, though, because there's no in-game music.
No.
Which this game could have sorely done with.
Yes.
There's a lot this game could have sorely done with, but music's one of them. After the rather lengthy loading, we get our title screen, silent, as I said. It's got some credits. There's an odd copyright Mirrorsoft line at the bottom as well. Which,
strange.
I don't know what they're for. And there's a logo for the game. There's our Wolverine is animated towards the bottom. So Wolverine is essentially an AT-ST or an Ed 209 with a bit more of a pointy nose.
Yeah.
And you can see it's all there in this chunky medium res green and brown.
Yeah, it's not great camouflage for the environments it's going into, really. But
No, it's not. There's nothing to do here. Just press fire, get the game going. So the game, and that's it. So the game itself is split into 3 sections. There are 3 parts to this game. And according to the instructions, level 1 is 9 a.m. on a New York subway. That's what it says.
Right. Okay.
I don't know why. Who cares? So the first section is a 2D multi-directional scrolling shooter, I guess, sort of walk and shoot, where you must explore the underground layers, floors, whatever, of the subway in order to find a way out to the second level. There's a boss at the end if you manage to. It's just a maze. You go up, you go down, and you make your way through. If you get to the end, there's a boss to kill. If you kill the boss, you move on. The game here, it's got the scrolling window at the bottom, taking up 2/3 of the screen. The top third is about a third is the UI. This shows your score, the energy, your present energy that you've got remaining, the level of pollution, which is constantly on the rise, the name of the game in massive letters.
Yeah.
Always good to have that. It takes me back to loads of games we don't see that very often these days, but it took me back.
I'll trick that. Yeah.
And then on the right, there's what weapon you are carrying and what ammo you have left for it. You don't have infinite ammo in this, so you've got to be careful. The pollution level is constantly rising throughout the game, so it's basically a timer. If it fills up completely, it's game over. Done. Wolverine is no more. The graphics for the tunnels behind you, medium res shades of brown.
The classic.
The classic. They're not terribly drawn. They've got a little bit of depth and sort of shading to them. They're okay. The backgrounds, they're all right. The enemies, though,
they're all right.
The enemies, though, that patrol the tunnels, the single color spectrum-esque things. They just don't. What don't
what
fit.
Are they?
They don't know. They don't fit with the medium res look of the main sprite or the backgrounds. They consist of weird, large insects, men in trolleys, large tripod type walking things.
Men in shopping trolleys, aren't they? They crap me up. I was like, why are they there?
Yeah, what's going on? Why are they in shopping trolleys? I don't know. But there's just a random assortment of crap, basically. Yeah. It's it's the Homer's webpage of enemy design.
It really is. It is. We haven't seen one of them for a while.
We haven't. No, we've not seen. There's a few things in this game we've not seen for a while, but that's one of them as well. Some of them shoot at you, but the other thing is as well that they don't turn around. So if they spawn and start walking away from you, you just walk up behind them and shoot them.
Past them, yeah. Get away.
Yeah,
from
just that's that. So if they shoot, contact with either the enemies themselves or the bullets, they reduce your energy. Should your energy run out, you will lose one of your continues. You've got 3 continues, lose all 3, and it's game over for you. Controls are fairly basic: left and right to walk, fire to shoot, up to jump, down to crouch. You need to down to crouch to shoot the men in the trolleys. That's kind of it. You pick up there's extra weapon and different weapons dotted about the maze. You can pick them up, but it just changes what you fire. Nothing really changes. There are holes as well, so you're sort of navigating these kind of tunnels with these holes. These got gaps in the floors. You'll need to drop down them to make progress, but you also need to jump up them. It took me, digging in through the instructions to actually find out how you actually jump up. Because to jump up, you have to stand beneath the hole, crouch, so pull down, and then push up.
Yeah,
and then that that flings you up, and then you can then direct yourself left or right as to where you want to go. Like I said, as you progress, you find other weaponry, lasers, grenades, the like. If you make it through these maze of tunnels, you get to level 2. This entails some. I didn't actually mention, but this game is slowing. Slowing's another thing we've not seen for a while, but the loading on this is quite slow.
Isn't it?
It was very slow. And so at this point, level 2, this is where the C64 version takes a turn from every other version.
Right.
We have our own level 2.
Of course we do.
not the one that's on the other version. All other versions, level 2 is a 3D shooter. Because you make your way through the city streets, you're walking into the streets and blasting stuff as it's sort of coming out left and right, and that's everything. That's this is actually pretty impressive, and for the time, especially the Amstrad Spectrum versions, it's pretty impressive. I watched a video of it; it's smooth, quite fast, but not here though, not the C64 version. Oh no, it's been turned into a side-on. I say that it's a side-on belt scroller type presentation. A bit of depth to the you can move up and down, but it's side-on and you can move up and down. And there's enemies just come from the right, and you just kind of try and line up and shoot them, or just walk into them and pick up their weapons and stuff and ammo. But you can still go up and down streets, so it's got that type of map navigation where, like I said, streets you move up and then you flicks you 90 degrees, so you're always going left to right. Turn on Og style, Death Wish 3 style, Ghetto Blaster style is that. We've always never really particularly liked that style of thing. But Death Wish 3, I think, if I seem to remember, it had that map, didn't it? It had the on-screen sort of indicator of where they were. Ghetto Blaster in its instructions and Turn on OK with a map of the instructions. This does not. And everything looks the same. So there's no way of knowing where you've been, which direction you're heading, where you're heading. It's just, everything looks the same. Wolverine is the same sprite as before, so it's that brown, green and brown thing. The enemies are the same. But not since A View to a Kill has a city been so ruthlessly rendered in brown.
Oh, it's very brown.
Good Lord. Brown buildings, brown sidewalks, brown cars. This is brown. I guess it's supposed to be rust, but it's just brown.
It's
brown.
It's
so brown.
This isn't Citadel Miniatures. This is brown.
It's just brown. Everything's brown. It's like the Yorkshire pudding game.
It's brown. But it's like brown. It is turdy brown as well, though. It's like I don't know how they've created that shape, but they really have made it turd brown.
It's brown. Everything's brown. So it's both a pain to navigate, a pain to play, and a pain to look at, which is great. Should you make it through this, and you for some reason as well, you're going through this bit to rescue a scientist. God knows why, because that's your goal. The final level, weirdly, becomes you take to the air as the game becomes a 2D horizontally scrolling shooter. So, but one that's really drab and grey. So it's now all gone grey, and with the same boring, ugly enemy sprites. And if you make it through this, you get to the end of the game boss. It's this really crap, boss. It's all awful. It's just ugly. It's dead easy to kill. You kill it, and you get a congratulatory message, and the game just stopped on my version.
Yeah, sounds right. So
stopped. You couldn't go back to the title. It's just stopped. Didn't really bother to load in the first level again. Just stopped.
Rubbish.
It's just dreadful. So you need to reset the machine. Yeah, and that was it. I wasn't impressed with this at all. And anyway, 3 levels of different types we've seen that before, can be an interesting proposition. Games like Flash Gordon, there are games that do sort of different kind of gameplay from level to level. You can do it decently. But we've seen bad versions of that as well. And this is a bad version of that kind of implementation. They're all boring and dull to both play and look at. Brown. The most impressive one that should have been, which is level 2 on every other machine, has been turned into a crap side-on maze version of it. Makes it the worst of the 3 levels. It's dreadful. And that's saying something because they're all pretty bad. Level 1's a boring maze, level 2 is a boring maze, and level 3 is a boring shooter with a crap final boss. I mean, I guess it works up until the end when it stops. I guess you can complete it if you fancy wasting your time on it, like I feel I've done. It's a bad port of a game that was probably not that good in the first place.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I don't think this is a particularly great game. It's this is not like an old 1988 Amiga game. This all came out at the same point. This is new. It's like they've written that story and then they've made a really, really drab, boring game. They probably had, this idea to be these multi-part thing, and the C64 is just crap. Ugly as well, and annoying. Yep. I didn't like Robozone at all, and I just, I want to banish Robozone to the Phantom Zone, and never have it darken the door of anybody ever again because it's crap. No. What did it get? 40% Way too much. Way too much. This is a 20s at best for me. What did you think?
It was rubbish. I mean, what genius had the idea of making a game called Robozone feature some kind of giant android robot turtle? It's just weird. If you look at the cover for the game, it looks like a mad version of a Ninja Turtle that's just been robotized in some weird way. It makes no sense. My problem with the game was quite simple. It was really boring. It made no sense anyway. And it also looks unfinished because of its weird use of medium and higher res. it made it look kind of unfinished. It's like the top half of the screen didn't look like it had been drawn properly. And so it felt a bit unpolished and there wasn't much love in here. The Amiga version had a good intro. And I remember playing the Amiga version and thinking, that's quite a good intro, but the rest of the game was actually pretty crap. And unusually for ImageWorks, of course, because on the Amiga, they had a pretty good reputation, didn't they? We're thinking Speedball 2 and things like that. So this was a real misfire on everything. And no wonder, really, because if you're going to make some kind of robot, angry robot space turtle or whatever the hell that thing is, you've got to make a decent game out of that. And they had all of the brouhaha, didn't they, in the blurb, but nothing to back that up. No game to back that up. At the point I was crouching down in my angry robot turtle suit to shoot at a guy who was scooting along in a shopping trolley, I thought, at what point when the person who designed that experience for me thought, that's great, that is. That never happened, did it? Nobody sits there and thinks, what this game needs is more people sat in shopping trolleys scooting about, firing at you. It's really dumb. So I didn't enjoy the game at all. I felt it looked and felt unfinished. I thought that the graphics were okay, the background were okay in that first level, but it was heading towards Brownsville at a rapid rate. And when you finally get there, my gosh, is it brown? It's like, wow, I haven't seen a game that brown for quite some time. That is up there in the brown league. Yep. So, and then I thought, okay, maybe they did that to offset the green, but even the green is of the space turtle, robot turtle, is shaded with brown. I'm like, it's all gone wrong. So I didn't enjoy this, what I felt was an unfinished escapade. I thought the music was perfunctory. The game was ill thought out. Obviously, someone put a lot of effort into the story, and then when they said, well, you want us to make a game of that? Nah, I'm just going to make a robot turtle suit. Oh, all right. It seems very elaborate for that, but okay. And this game was superseded. This idea of a giant walking kind of AST, whatever you call them. And Psygnosis released Walker about 2 years later, which then mopped the floor with this in that kind of idea. That sort of took the idea of this kind of game and just went on and did a better version of it. And I have a feeling there was an earlier game where we had a giant Walker robot thing. Because I remember us laughing wholeheartedly at the crappy advert for it. The crapvert for it was spectacular, as I remember. I couldn't honestly remember what that was, but I remember there being a giant space chicken, a robot chicken instead of a robot turtle in this instance. But the same problem occurred. That was a giant walking thing, but it didn't do a lot. This is very similar. Who wants to go hunting around sewers and subways in a turtle suit, robot turtle suit? Not me. Count me out. It was rubbish, and it wasn't a Robozone. I expected there to be zones of robos, and there wasn't anything like that. So it was just a bogey-coloured robot looking for something to do, and I didn't want to be any part of that. So no, I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was crap, and it certainly deserved a lot less than 45% for the price they're asking. No thanks. Even at budget, it would have been a push. So no, go away, Robozone. Go back to the Robozone and take your green turtley suit with you.
Yes, exactly. Rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. Right. Oh, my Lord. Sorry about that. I've got a frog in my throat.
You've got a robot frog in your throat. A robot
turtle has infiltrated in my throat zone.
That sounds horribly painful in all sorts of ways.
It's not pleasant. Okay, well, that's it. That's the first two games. We've got one that's brilliant, one that's crap. It is the way that the cookie crumbles sometimes. You never know. You never know. But we're going to take a break. We will come back and we'll be looking at the music. So album singles for November 1991. So we're not quite at Christmas yet, even though we're doing December's issue. Just stay with us. We'll see you in a bit.
The novel Escape from the Commodore 64 by David Hearn is out now. Crash landing on a green planet full of vector graphics, can Sarah find a way to escape for real? Or is she stranded on a planet full of sun, sea, and chippy tea forever? Imagine finding yourself in a cinematic karate game, having to rescue a princess, or remain stuck under the run-stop key forever. What about finding yourself on a space freighter full of robots? Could you clear the decks? If you were transported back to a Wild West town, having to round up outlaws, could you survive until sunset? What if you were a wizard with a cat who must colour worlds? Could you beat the game, or would a virtual guitar solo announce your demise? Sarah might just be another visitor, but she doesn't want to stay a while, never mind forever. Available from Amazon and all good online retailers, discover if there's a way out in Escape from the Commodore 64. Visit davidhearnwriter.com to find out more.
And we are back. We're back for music in November 1991 in the UK.
Yes, we are.
Okay, Redfuss. Number one singles, Graham. Would you like to know what the number one singles were?
Yes, please.
All right. Well, for the first 2 weeks, there was Dizzy by Vic Reeves and the Wonder Stuff.
He was so dizzy his head was spinning. I quite like that. I had to listen to that again today, actually, and it's all right, isn't it? It is what it is. I remember it being fun in the nightclubs at the time, the ones we were going to.
Yeah.
And nobody was crying about it, were they, or angry about it? It was,
I think people generally. Vic Reeves was on the ascendance at the time. Good,
he was.
Good pairing with the Wonder Stuff, who can do these tunes. But I just never liked Miles Hunt, so he puts different frontman at the front. Shows you should have had a different singer all the time. But,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Vic Reeves does a good job, actually, and he's just a good character and actually an incredibly talented guy. So obviously, and that's just proof really that he can sort of turn his hand to what he likes, and it's going to be good.
Yeah. For the final 2 weeks of the month, though, big single was released. It was "Black or White" by Michael Jackson.
Aye, diddly-dee. And lots of in that video, wasn't there? Goodness, wow, he's shouting a lot.
Yeah. There's some interesting facts on this. I mean, obviously, whatever you think about Michael Jackson, whatever, just put that to one side. But it's premiered simultaneously in 27 countries.
Wow.
That's quite impressive for back in 1991.
Yeah, it is. It's
like crazy.
Some of those countries weren't necessarily high on the "are we checking this is actually happening" list. It was the sleepy town of Loaf, Nudkin, the country of Nudkin, with a population of 2 guangos. There's out of those 27 countries, 6 were very well known. The remaining 21,
maybe.
less so.
But it was seen by over 500 million people.
It was. Oh, that's one person. 500 million times. No, I'm joking.
True.
It was like everywhere, wasn't it, for a while?
Yeah. But what I found quite interesting, this is on the wiki, was there's a section called controversy and censorship.
Aye.
So controversy was generated concerning the last 4 minutes of the original music video. A Black Panther walks out of the studio and morphs into Jackson. He walks outside to perform some of his most physically slick dance moves. It contains sexually suggestive scenes when Jackson starts to grab his crotch and zips his pants up. In the original version, Jackson is seen smashing windows, destroying a car with his arm and a crowbar, destroying windows with a steering wheel and a trash can, and causing an inn called the Royal Arms Hotel to explode.
That's true.
Yeah, Jackson was sharply criticised for the final scene, especially by Entertainment Weekly, which ran a featured article called "Michael Jackson's Video Nightmare." Concerns over its content had preceded its release. In the United Kingdom, around 30 seconds of the sequence were edited out of the video for its BBC premiere.
Of course they were.
Jackson asked his fans for forgiveness, saying that the violent and suggestive behaviour had been a dance-style interpretation of the animalistic instincts of a panther. Jackson ordered the removal of the video's final scenes from subsequent broadcasts. In 1993, Jackson released a digitally altered version of the final scenes. With the glass windows smashed, now marred with racist and anti-Semitic graffiti, the car windows display offensive messages, I'm not going to read them out, with racial epithets, and a storefront door is spray painted with KKK rules. These alterations gave new reasoning for Jackson's destruction of the property.
It did. Now, I found a comparison video online for that, which has got both scenes censored and uncensored, although ironically the labeling of those is the wrong way round on the video, so you've got to, when you watch them, think of that. I don't know. You could argue that it's overly suggestive. I think it's just actually the kind of dance style of Michael Jackson, where he's very fidgety and he grabs his crotch a lot. I mean, I'm no dancer, but I mean, I've never been a dancer, and I've certainly never been a crotch grabbing dancer. And so I'm in no position to dictate my expertise.
You say that, but I've seen you on the dance floor.
I've never grabbed my own crotch anyway, but we'll leave that there.
Sorry, yeah.
However, all of the sequence where he's smashing windows and cars, I'm not sure I quite believe that it's, angry violence and stuff like that. It's just a video. It's just a pop song, isn't it? Really, underneath all that? And I don't think it's overly suggestive. It's just, his dancing's amazing if you like. It's very tap dancey, actually, apart from the where he shouts ho and grabs his crotch and unzips his trousers or whatever. I'm not a fan of Michael Jackson particularly. I'm not buying into that kind of reading of that.
I was just quite surprised because I've watched it and I've been like, oh, okay. It just reminded me of the bonus stage in Street Fighter 2 where you smash the cars up.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. Also, by the way, that it's not any more violent or anything of any other violent than a lot of other videos and things that have been out there at this time. So I'm not sure really where all of that criticism's coming from, but this is because obviously we've got the launch of the big album, which we'll talk about later as well. But I think the problem is that the perception of Michael Jackson had shifted at this point, including his own ego perception. And I think that's perhaps driving some of the hate that was coming his way, as well as obviously in the background. I think this is where some of those obviously wild accusations and all the rest of that horrific stuff, which we're not going to talk about here, goes into. But suffice to say, I think this was a particular change of direction and sound and tone for Michael Jackson as well, in terms of the album and everything else. So make of it what you will. I'm not so sure that he was impersonating the prowess of a panther, because I don't believe panthers tap dance or grab their crotches. But what do I know? I'm not an expert in the field of panthery either, so I don't know. Dancing panthers, who knows what they do? Dangerous, though.
Dangerous. Very dangerous. Yeah. Number one albums, though. It was a revolving door of albums this month. One in, one out. So for the first week, we had Queen's Greatest Hits 2.
We did. It's the follow-up to the Greatest Hits 1, ironically. And also their best-selling album. So
yeah, that Greatest Hits 1 was sang by David Essex, I think, seems to remember.
I'd love to hear that. But yeah, obviously it's Greatest Hits of Queen, so think of a Queen song, it's probably on there.
Probably. Kicking that off number one, the following week was Shepherd Moons by Enya, which isn't a command or a description.
It's a type of moon, isn't it? A shepherd moon.
I don't know, is it?
I think so.
Does it need pluralising?
No, it doesn't. That's the stupidity of Enya.
Because the shepherd moons is like, just sounds like you're walking down and the shepherd's showing his ass at you.
Yeah, I think that's what it actually means, because it can't mean that it's a shepherd moon, because that would have been,
singular.
Shepherd moon, yeah, singular. And silly Enya. Silly Enyas, sorry, if we're going to be pedantic.
Silly Enyas. Yeah, we're going to do this entire podcast now with plurals.
The third studio album from Irish singer-songwriter and musician Enya. Apparently, big success from the previous albums inevitably led to this one. There you go.
Kicking that out from number one spot the following week was We Can't Dance by Genesis.
14th studio album from rock band Genesis. So that's quite a lot of albums, isn't it?
It is. They're in a completely different space, though, by this point, aren't they, considering to when they started?
Yeah, and unable to dance, it seems, which is odd. I think where did they lose that skill and how?
Well, I don't think they were ever known for their dancing flow. Once they lost Peter Gabriel, they were done for.
And in the very first version of the video for I Can't Dance, he came out of the dressing room in the video and then changed into a panther. And he was trying to tap dance and scream and smash cars, and it just didn't work out.
Who's that? Phil Collins?
Phil Collins, yeah.
Phil Collins grabbing his crotch. He undid his zip. It's a whole different thing. Not did it up.
Phil Collins grabbing his crotch is something I'd never want to experience. To be fair.
He could feel it coming in the air tonight. And finally, replacing We Can't Dance for the final week was Dangerous by Michael Jackson on the back of the
There we go. 8th album from Mr. Jackson. So 4 years after the previous album. Bad, though. Took a while, didn't it, that?
Does that include albums by the Jacksons? It must do.
I think he was only solo at this point. I don't think he was performing or releasing any stuff with the Jacksons, unless it was a best of.
Priorly, because the only albums he's had at this point was Bad Thriller and Off the Wall.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So I'm presuming the first 4 albums are with the Jackson 5 is what I mean.
Yeah. I would imagine so, yeah.
Okay.
But again, this is the Jacksons, of course, if we're going with Enya.
It's Michael's Jacksons with Dangerouses.
Silly Enya.
Enya's.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the singles. 3rd of November's was in at number 18 was It's Grim Up North. By the Justified Ancients of Moo Moo. Of
course it is. Otherwise known as the KLF, furthermore known as the Jams. It's the KLF. It's, Bill Drummond in it and Mr. Cowty or whatever. I actually quite like this. It sounds a lot like an Underworld track. I think it's very derivative of an Underworld track, actually, if you listen to it. So it sounds a bit like Dark Train and that kind of idea of a rumbling techno soundscape with somebody reading a list of places out, essentially. Yeah. And that's what this one does. And of course, Grimsby gets a mention in, doesn't it? Grimsby in there. Does. So, and we always like, it's great. It's all right. But I don't think it was ever going to be the big smash hit that they'd previously enjoyed. I don't think it was ever designed to be that either. But and in fact, it surprised me it got this high in the charts, really. I don't know if it gets much higher, but there you go.
Might do. I don't know. I'd have checked. In at number 28 is Me in Time by the Charlatans.
Not my bag. Was it your bag?
No, I don't remember this at all. I think that tells you, I was kind of into this sort of stuff and I had my finger on the pulse and kind of the indie stuff, but I don't remember this at all.
Well, clearly you didn't have your finger on the pulse because the Charlatans released something and it bypassed you completely.
Absolutely. In which case then I don't know what I had my finger on, but I wholeheartedly apologise. So,
it wasn't, well, it was somebody else's crotch, as we've discovered.
Absolutely.
Which isn't going to help you with the indie music scene, as far as I'm aware.
No, it's not a good thing. No,
the video was a horrific color collage, wasn't it? Level 3 media project all the way, that one.
Yeah, no, that's not the first. That's not the only one. The last one we'll see of Level 3
this
media
entire
students.
episode's like the best of B-Tech, isn't it? It's like, oh, God.
Yeah, it is. Number 29 is Love Sweet Exile, double A-side repeat, I think, by the Manic Street Preachers.
Yeah, it's where he has that weird way of singing at this. He does that at the end of his like, and I know that's not this particular song, but he has this weird way of doing that at the end of almost every sentence in this thing. So he has this kind of, it's like crash and burn. He's got like, he does that. It's like his batteries are just fading a bit at the end of each sentence. And he does that a lot on this particular track. I mean, I don't mind it on the other ones, but on this one, which is also a crappy song, it does that more than it should. More than it should.
Yeah, it's not a good song, this. I'm not a big fan of it. Like I said, I'm not a fan of this album particularly.
No, and this is stage 1 Manics, isn't it? This is the stage 1, because the stage 2 version is completely different, really.
Yeah. Well, the next album, yeah. In at number 32 is Winter Song by Chris Reas.
Yeah, I found a non-official video on YouTube for that, which was just wintry scenes, which sort of made sense, I suppose.
It was. But it's boring, this song. But I questioned that. Is this what he did after he finally drove home for Christmas?
Yeah, he got there. He's finally got somewhere where he was aiming to be, and there wasn't anything in his way. And when he got there, it was winter, which shows how long it took him, because he set off about 6 years before that in the summer.
I know. Yeah. Driving home for Christmas now. The winter song. Like, cheer up, Chris.
Yeah,
cheer
6 years. No, or he's never driven out of there. He's just trapped in a winter world.
He's trapped in a snow globe.
It explains why he's been driving home for Christmas perpetually. Driving home for Christmas. Help me, I'm trapped inside a snow globe. I can't get out because I've been sealed in. And then the giant goes, you are sealed in, Chris.
The stuff in snow globes, so don't drink it because it'll kill you.
Why would you ever be compelled to want to?
I never knew what was in it. I thought it might be water.
Okay. It's not. No,
it's not. No, I found out the other day.
It's not.
Yeah, just things you've never thought about. Like, you just see it. It's like a clear liquid. You're like, oh, whatever. Don't think about what it is.
You don't generally, my advice to you, and this is just general advice, if you see a clear liquid, don't just assume it's drinkable, no matter what it is. You don't know what you're drinking.
I've got to this point in my life. It's not harmed me so much.
My teeth have never been greener.
Absolutely. They're as brown as that game we just played.
My gosh, yeah. Well, something will be brown, and it'll be the toilet pan if you drink. If you drink bloody water out of those snow globe juice, it's not a good juice to drink.
I'm passing on information that I found out, which I thought might be pertinent and useful to people who are like me, don't know or care.
Yeah, you see, that's the. Did you ever make the discovery of when you get those, those water puzzles that you used to get where you had the little buttons and you'd press them and they'd like the fire the little hoops.
Oh, yeah.
And then you inadvertently broke that and you thought, I'll just fill it with, or you emptied it and you thought, I'll fill it with water. And that's when you realise it ain't water in them, is it? It ain't.
It's thicker and it's like a gel, isn't it?
Yeah, it's viscous. Yeah, well, yeah, it's viscous. I'm not sure what it is, actually. It's probably just got a bit of unicorn blood and tears in it.
Quite possibly. Yeah. Or Chris Rea tears.
The tears of an elk.
Okay. Why not? At number 35 is The Unforgiven by Metallica.
And cue the gong, the death gong at the beginning of the song. And they have a lot of death gongs in their songs, don't they?
They do. I do like this song. It's got lots of in it, though.
It's Metallica, for goodness. Of course it does.
It's just changed. But this particular song, it reminded you were saying about when you pick up on some of its singers' ticks.
It does.
This one has lots of it. Even
it does.
Blood joins this earth.
It quickly suck you. Yeah, he's got a bit of that in there, hasn't he? A bit of
lots
Metallica
of that in this song. But it's a good song, though.
It is. It's actually my favourite one off that album because I think that Nothing Else Matters gets all the press, but The Unforgiven's got a much better solo in it. I really like, and I like the pace, and it makes me laugh in a way because it's Metallica trying to do a kind of like Nothing Else Matters, but it's their attempt. I think their first attempt, because I think this comes before Nothing Else Matters on the album, although don't quote me on that. But the thing is, this one is kind of a ballad in the same sort of way, but it sort of shows you that they struggle with ballads because they can't not be Metallica, can they?
No,
it's got that nice ding diddle diddle dee doo 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 doo, and you're like, oh, that's quite nice. New blood joins this. You're like, okay, here we go.
It's when Lars, can you maybe not hit the drums quite so hard?
Yeah, you've gone through 20 drums this week.
Go.
You just smack the crap out of those drums, don't they? I mean, he's using properly, and he tunes his drums quite high, actually, famously. So he must go through some serious drumsticks. I mean, he must smash them sticks to pieces. He does whack them. He does really whack them, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And it's not subtle. I mean, the only thing I'll say is in the same way that Iron Maiden aren't known for their subtlety, Metallica, when they're doing these kind of ballads, they're not subtle about it, are they? The lyrics might sound nice and sort of ballady, but that lyric is going to take you to dark places, and the heavy metal chugging is going to remind you that this is Metallica ballads, and they're not the same. This is Metalli ballad.
Metalli ballad, yeah.
And it ain't a brown ballad, and we're going to come across some of them.
We will. Because in at number 36 is Clipped by Curve.
I bet you liked that, didn't you?
I did. I do like this. The video is another level 3 video, though. It's a BTEC video filmed in someone's house, but it's got Tony Halliday in, so lovely as ever.
Is she related to the other Halliday?
I don't know. I think it's Tony Halliday. I might have got the name wrong. Let me check.
I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking Tony Halliday was the guy out of Spandau Ballet.
It is Tony Halliday. No, that's it's not Halliday, is he?
That's Tony Hollandaise.
That's Tony Hadley.
Tony Hadley. It's very similar.
Tony Halliday. Yeah, but there's no law about Tony Halliday. She can go where she wants. She's not banned from going within 72 miles of the coast.
But I wonder how many people got that wrong and invited the wrong Hadley and the wrong Halliday.
This tall, strapping man turns up.
Yeah,
that's not the singer out of Curve.
Have you come to the right address? Because I'm pretty sure you're not the person we've invited. Let me in, or I'll shout your house down.
It's true. I should be here. But no, it's a good song. It's all right.
Let me through the barricades and I'll come in.
It's like a vampire. You have to invite him in.
Oh dear. Hadley's Vampire sounds like an album he should have released. I don't know. But here we go.
Sounds like a really shit pub. In at number 51 is Never Going Down by Adamski and Jim Polo, wherever he is.
Maybe in, but it sounds like everything else that it did at that time, which is a shame because it's Adamski. I thought had a bit more to him than that. Maybe it's okay for some, but I think it was a bit boring.
Same here.
Very beep, boop, boop, beep. They used the same soundscapes as KLF did for one of their tracks. They used it when it went beep, boop like that. Very similar.
Beep, boop. In at number 53 is Ring My Bell, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Yeah, heavily laying into Gotta Ring My Bell. You know, 70s song, 70s disco hit for somebody.
I thought this was awful.
Yeah, it's not great. Sort of, they're kind of moving themselves into an irrelevant area of rap. I think partly because the more aggressive rap acts around the time were much better and kind of more on point and more in touch with the kind of audience. This was kind of safe rap, non-threatening for the probably more MOR audience and it's culturally safe. But I think they were better when they were younger and their songs are a bit fresher, as in an ironic twist. Later down the line, the Public Enemies of this world were kind of showing them up for kind of what they were. And maybe there's a space for this kind of, this is a story all about how kind of thing. Maybe there's a space for that, but it wasn't my bag at this time.
I didn't want this song. This song is not very good.
No, it isn't.
Which quite like the next song, because it's number 61 is When a Man Loves a Woman by Michael Bolton.
Yes, Bolton. Bolton's back, isn't he? Bolton.
Maybe it's a silent greeting.
Possibly a silent welcoming committee.
Righty.
That joke's never going to... we've been cracking that joke now for nearly 170 episodes. That's pretty good going. Long live Boltar and all of his jokes. I don't know. I don't like this. I've never particularly liked the original version of this song. It's all right for what it is, but Bolton's just doing a version of someone else's song, isn't he? So, okay.
Yeah. I did notice in the video, though, that his hair is terrible. He needs to get some frizzies on that, at least, or use a better conditioner, because it's dreadful. I was looking at it going, oh, my God, man, you got hair that long. Knowing what it's like having long hair, which we both used to have back in the day. My hair was particularly, if I didn't condition it properly, was just a nightmare, and he's clearly not caring for his hair, and that pained him.
No, and it looked to me like this is what happens if someone with a really extensive mullet gets trapped in a wind tunnel, because his hair was just blown so hard and so fast back that it's just stayed there permanently, because he looks like an arrow.
Yeah, he does. It's really bad. Like, God, man, all that money you've got, get some frizzies.
And I don't know what's happened to his hand in the screen grab you've got, but he's an alien. And I'm convinced of that now.
I think that's just YouTubers caught between two frames.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's an AI video.
Lizard. He's a lizard.
Well, he's got a hand like Steve Vai.
Yeah, so obviously he's a Cylon, isn't he? So, he isn't formed. He's not properly formed.
Yeah, they were lizards. Yeah.
Exactly,
just giving the sign for a Cylon welcoming committee. That's all he's doing.
He is possibly, and he's noticed he's got his ears are sealed. His ears haven't got holes in. It freaked me out.
Everything he needs to know about Michael Bolton
is in that image. Yeah, he can hear through his nose, which is clever.
That's these tendrils of hair. Every tendril of hair is an ear.
Well, it's when like he said he was in a wind tunnel. It was that powerful. It's actually sealed his ears.
Blocked the tunnel as well. There's so much hair on his head, it just blocked the wind tunnel.
It is ridiculous how much hair is in that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyway, number 64, The Air You Breathe by Bomb the Bass.
Lots of people looking around in foggy areas in that video, it seemed to me at the beginning. Where are we? Is anyone around?
Yeah, it's like, was this supposed to be like some post-apocalyptic train ride or something? It's like...
Yeah, I think that's the juicy vibe of it. I don't know. I prefer the more kind of thumpy, housey versions of Bomb the Bass tracks than this kind of more, I don't know, this version of Bomb the Bass. And there's all space for it because, they've done some amazing stuff. But this isn't the Bomb the Bass I prefer. So
No. 10th of November, in at number 8, Is There Anybody Out There by the Bassheads?
I bet you hated that.
Yeah, rave nonsense with house piano.
Raves, yeah, with the Roland 303 in full effect there, of course. You can always tell. But that's the only good thing in that. And that's not saying much.
Number 11 is Activate, Come With Me by Alternate.
Do you know what? I had. This is the one I thought that Derek ate. You remember the 8 Derricks that we played that gig with? This is the one I thought that they tried to do, but it wasn't because that was like that crappy thing. This was rubbish, wasn't it? Awful noisy piece of rubbish, this.
Yeah,
crap video as well. Crap. Also crap.
Yeah, I concur with you. I concur.
Yeah, not good, that.
No. And at number 14 is Killer, EP by Seal.
Okay. So
yes, the original one was Seal and Adamski, but Seal did release his own version, which is this. It's a different version. It's got its own video. It's on his album. It's on his first album. So, because I think he wrote the original and Adamski changed it. I don't know what the lineage is, but this is the original version, I think. Or maybe not, I don't know. But it's a different version. It's Seal's version. There's no Adamski in sight. The video is very weird. And if you watch the video, it's heavy on new wave CG.
Yeah.
CG dolphins and shit.
Yeah, exactly. New age.
Yeah. And it looks like he's made a guitar or a bass out of a spatula.
He did. That was a skill, though, that he had. It's a skill.
It's passed down from generation to generation, from one Seal to the other.
He got his BTEC level 2 in spatula carving.
Spatula bases.
Yeah, I mean, you've never done that?
No, not this week.
It's more City and Guilds than BTEC, but okay.
He's on a YTS at the time, probably. In at number 22 is Faith in the Power of Love, 1991 re-release by Rosala.
It sounded like everything sounded in 1991. It was the chart dance stuff that was destined to be background music for a seafront pub dust-up over someone's ex talking to some guy for some reason, or someone's looking at someone's pint in a funny way, that kind of thing. That's the soundtrack to it.
Yes, exactly. When your description of that, I was like, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I think I've actually seen someone get hit with a pool cue to that song, so I know that's accurate.
In time, I hope it was in time.
Do you know what? I can't remember. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say because you've got a 25% chance.
Yeah, 4/4 beat. You're going to be just keep it going.
Yeah, exactly. Syncopated. Yeah, you did it off beat. It's clever. It's like watching some clever show. It was amazing.
And at number 28 is Radio Song by R.E.M.
Not my thing.
I like this actually. I like the Radio Song. It's got like you said, it starts off quite true, but it's a good song list. I like this one. One of my better ones, I think, from R.E.M.
Yeah, it's just your bag. I was never. I knew the R.E.M. songs I wouldn't say enjoyed more than endured, but the ones that I would go up and dance floor with you at Gulliver's were the ones that you danced to in Gulliver's, and that wasn't one of them, as I remember.
No, I don't really think this one got played very much. I think the ones we did was Orange Crush and End of the World or whatever it was.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah.
And at number 20, and obviously Losing My Religion. Number 29 is You to Me Are Everything, another cover. This is by Sonia.
Yeah, of course it is, because she's not giving up without a fight, is she, Sonia? Bless her.
No, she's keeping going.
Remember, this is post-Stock Aitken and Waterman, so she was making a big deal on the previous album how she wrote 6 of the songs herself, and then the next single she comes out with is someone else's. Oh, Sonia. Will you ever win?
Will you ever learn?
Chalolin's Lisa Stansfield, I thought, with this cover version, not very good. She's a good vocalist, actually. I'll give credit to Sonia. I don't particularly like anything she stands for or any of the music she's ever been involved with, but she can sing. She can sing a note.
Yeah.
But for some reason, and I don't know really why, they've dressed her up as a Belinda Carlisle in this.
Yeah, you can't do that.
No, but it is that, isn't it? I didn't imagine that.
Yeah. No, as soon as it came out, I was like, yes, I can see that. She's gone for that kind of sort of 60s kind of long trench coat, sort of ginger hair, sort of piled up on top. Sort of what you've just described isn't how I remember it, because I remember it being more sophisticated than that. You sounded like you're describing a seaside ice cream. But okay. We see what we see, don't we? That's what I took from it. I've probably been chugging too much snow globe juice.
I was going to say, you was on your 7th snow globe by then.
Everything looked the same. Everything looked like it's just a massive ice cream cone.
I was spitting multicoloured sparkly water for a while. Yeah,
absolutely. It's like that bit in the Young Sherlock Holmes where all those sweets come alive and try to kill him.
Yeah, absolutely. If I watched that not long ago.
There you go. That's a weird. Yeah. That's a weird deep pull.
It is. Yeah, I've got that's mad. Yeah, mad. Yeah.
In at number 32. Also that Sonia thing. Use of chroma key. Ooh, a lot heavy use of chroma key in there.
Oh yeah, loads of it was chroma heavy, wasn't it? Yeah. It was filmed in Chroma, the place Chroma, as well.
Yeah, it was. It was
where she got the key to the city. She actually got the chroma key. So there you go.
Can't believe we've never made that joke. Actually,
we have now.
We have now. We finally
Thanks,
went
Sonia.
there.
Thanks for letting us do that joke.
We finally went to Chroma.
Your $5 in the post.
In at number 32, this is anti-color. I don't know. How do you pronounce this? 2 to the power of 231? Is that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
There you go. I'm not sure what that.
Or is it square root?
I don't know. It's to the power of square root.
No, it's not. It's not to the power because that'd be little tiny numbers, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So it's 2 square root of 231, or is it 2 divided by 2? I don't know.
I don't know, and I don't understand the notation.
No, but anyway, it's another crap track that's escaped from the rave scene.
Yeah, anti-capella. Now later there's a capella as well. So does that, if they meet, is there some kind of capellic explosion? Maybe
well, they both sort of cancel each other out, and all their songs are erased from history.
Oh, we only wish that would happen.
And we only do, yeah. And number 33, it's the real one. Do you feel like I feel? Belinda Carlisle.
Yeah, she's back. It sounds a bit derivative of her sound, but it's all right, I suppose.
Yeah, a good chorus in this, but it's a 50-foot Belinda Carlisle in the video. I was like, oh, my word.
That's a lot of Belinda right there.
That's a lot of Belinda.
Yes, she'd wear you like a codpiece in that.
Yeah, probably.
And you'd be happy with that too, and so would Gary.
Absolutely, yeah. We both would. Yeah, as we sucked on our snow globe juice.
Exactly. You could be little key rings for her, and you'd be happy with that.
Yeah, just hanging from a belt.
Yeah, or in a pocket. Yeah, just on a loop. Yeah.
In at number 35 is Sin by 9 Inch Nails.
Yes,
another good track.
Of course. Yeah, yes, it is indeed.
Very spare sound to this. Sort of minimal. Yeah, compared to Head Like a Hole.
Far more reminiscent of a Front 242 early Frontline style. It's got more of a leaning of the synth-based industrial about that, which I like. That's the sound I very much like. But I like every track on that album. But I thought it was good. But it's again, it's Trent Reznor in it, so it's good stuff. In all fairness,
yeah. And he's clearly happy. I mean, you got one of the main lyrics in it. It comes down to this: your kiss, your fist. So happy Trent.
He doesn't mess about, does he? But I like that sort of turn of lyric as well.
I do as well.
He's a really clever lyricist.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a really good 3 lines. That is, you don't need anything more.
No, I was listening to a different track by then, but I was listening to Hurt, and it's just so beautifully written. And I was like, wow. And again, it's just that's what you've quoted there is just an expression of how talented that guy. His fingers and every part of him is he's like the Thing of talent, isn't he? Every single part of him is like a whole. If you cut his finger off, it'd go off and form a band.
Yeah, probably.
No, he is the Thing, but the Thing version that was music. No, not the one that tried to kill everyone in an Antarctic base. He's like the music version. If you cut his finger off,
if you just cut the end off, sort of thing, it could be the 9 Inch Nails.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's like, can you imagine that scene in the Thing? But it's a Trent Reznor version. So one of us is a Trent Reznor. Right.
One of these gets burnt. It'll try to protect itself and write an album.
Just create a completely different kind of industrial album. So that's not human. That's Trent Reznor, and it would have tried to absorb these dogs, and in process make more Trent Reznors.
Make another industrial album. It would have. This is broken. This is fixed.
What's in there?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's weird and Trent Reznor, whatever it is.
It's weird and writing an industrial album, whatever it's doing. Another one. Can't be stopped. In at number 48 is Sweet Dreams 91 by the Eurythmics.
Horrible, stupid idea.
Yeah. As I've aptly put, they've just added loads of synths and stuff, haven't they? It's not very good.
Synths, dance beats. It's rubbish.
Yeah, so this is the very definition of subtraction by addition, as we like to say.
It is. I suspect Gary, podcast friend Gary, Brown Sauce, whatever we call him nowadays, really, he'd know all about that because he knows about things like that. He knows who'd be responsible, who was the remixer. He probably took him out for tea and made him a pancake. He's that kind of guy. He was once found feeding sausage rolls to all of the band members of The Sweet. I don't know if you know that, when they were singing Blockbuster and he just turned up with a load of sausage rolls and was like, come on, guys, I made sausage rolls for you. No. You don't talk about that often, but and we can't verify that, but we'll just say that it's real because we like it.
It's a dark period of his life.
It was, yeah. Well, he hung around with them for ages, didn't he? He had that weird haircut, that straight fringe, and he wore them huge boots and pretty much nothing else. It was very odd. Tiger Feet, he called himself, didn't he, for a while? It was horrible.
Yeah. Not for the reason you think.
No, not at all, no. Cut your toenails. For God's sake, cut your toenails.
Yeah. Trent Reznor's in there writing an Israel album. Get your bloody toenails cut.
You've torn holes in the carpet, for God's sake. Get out.
You've torn holes in the concrete. 17th of November, we've spoken about this, straight into number 1, Black or White by Michael Jackson.
Yeah. We didn't mention the famous morphing bit, did we, at the end of that video, by the way? It's got a very famous morphing sequence, which was very of its time, and everyone was like, wow, the morphing's amazing. It's got Mr. T in it as well, isn't it? He morphs into Mr. T, somebody. Very of its time, but yeah. And everyone was like, wow, it's amazing. It had loads of special effects in it, though.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Like I said, he morphed from the panther, didn't he, into himself.
Yeah, he did.
In at number 14, Way of the World by Tina Turner.
The Way of the World. Remember we said ages ago, she only sings in syllables, doesn't she? Good track, actually, for that. If you like Tina Turner, and, I can't say I'm opposed to Tina Turner in any way. She's pretty good. She's looking a bit older in that video, but and sort of showing compared to the version of Tina Turner that we're used to, she's a bit slimmer, I think, little bit older of cheek, facial cheek. But the voice is still the voice, isn't it? And my gosh, what a powerful voice she's got. So I quite like. I'd never really heard it before, or remembered it, but I listened to it and I thought it's all right for a Tina Turner song.
Yeah, it's all right. It's not one of her best, but it's all right.
No, it's not the best. It's not simply the best. Or the best.
No, it's not. It's not one of the best. It's not. It's not Private Dancer either. It's not even it's certainly no We Need Another Hero. Or We Don't Need Another Hero. Number 15 is Wholehearted by Extreme.
Ew.
Wholehearted.
It's so trite, isn't it? No, it's
very
arsehole-hearted, isn't it? This. It is twiddly twee. It's painful to watch Extreme, actually, at this point, because I will wholeheartedly say that the first track they released was good. It was, great, amazing guitar solo in it. Not everyone likes it, but I like that, and I particularly like that guitar solo. Really good stuff. But they went downhill rapidly, really rapidly. And this song's trite guff. It's awful, really twiddly diddly. Break out the 12th string and let's all stomp around in our jeans and the street and impersonate Dexter's Midnight Runners for some reason. I don't like it.
Yeah, reminded me of the Spin Doctors.
Yeah, totally spin. It is spin doctory. That's a really good, astute observation. That Two Princes is a good. Like, you put the link there. We'll put it in. You compare the two. Don't compare the two songs. Compare the triteness of the songs.
Yes. Yeah, it's the vibe.
It's the vibe. The trite scale will be off the chart. You'll be like, oh God, that's so trite.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Yes.
Yeah, you're very well good. Yeah, very good.
And at number 20 is Wasted Time by Skid Row.
Yeah, the very edition of what they're doing right now, releasing these songs, really, wasting their bleeding time and everyone else's. They had a fan base, and the fan base was going to buy this up. But, it's another weepy-eyed ballad in the vein of every other band at the moment. And I found it a bit trite, again, because I think there's an acknowledgement that their time is up. Your time is up. And this is kind of their farewell, I guess. So I didn't rate it. And he's a good vocalist, in all fairness, old Sebastian Bach, but not a great song by them, really. No.
But I will just issue a warning for this as well. Don't watch this if you suffer from epilepsy. The amount of flashing and shit in this video, it's crazy.
Oh, no, it was
Don't watch it.
It was very flashy indeed, yeah.
Yeah, very. And it's not very good,
no,
but anyway.
Don't.
Number 21 is So Real by Love Decade. Scrapyard Rave. Who knew that was a thing?
Yeah, well, the KLF kind of gave birth to it, didn't they? This is such a KLF-inspired rave act. Just shitty crap. though. It's just we've seen the KLF did this already. They've did it with a load of stuff. So this is just some kind of crap impersonation of that. It's an Aldi brand KLF, though. They're not the jams, they're the gyms.
Yeah, the joms. Not even a real word.
No.
Number 23 is Spending My Time, Roxette. I just wish I hadn't spent my time listening to this.
I agree. Wasting my time, I think, is what it should have been called.
Yeah, it's like, it's just, I've just lost all interest in Roxette by now. It's just, oh God, it's just the same thing.
It's another video with another video with the same kind of look and another song with the same kind of hook. Ironically, not their song that's actually called The Look, and neither as good as that, which was good of its time, but it is of its time. But yeah, who was really listening to Roxette by now? I think they've just been forgotten about.
Yeah, no. We should have also forgotten about number 25. It's So Tell Me Why by Poison. Now, this video is weird. It's got a weird sci-fi wraparound where they find these videos in 2060 and put it on, and it's the video for the song, and then they play it again and want to play it again at the end. More worryingly, in the video sort of thing, he's got a Confederate flag guitar.
He does, yeah. It's a bit shocking that. Dates it pretty badly, doesn't it? And not very nice, I guess.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the Dukes of Hazzard had something similar on their car, didn't they?
I guess, yeah.
In the General Lee, it was called the General Lee one at the car, to be fair.
Yes, true, yes.
But that was also of its time. I don't know, in the 90s was the reason for this, and it's just more hair metal. Go away. It's time. Your time's up.
Your time is up, yeah. Number 32 is There Will Never Be Another Tonight by Bryan Adams.
Tonight? Another what? Makes sense,
tonight. It does make sense. There'll never be another tonight, because there won't be.
I'm not so sure. Yeah, maybe. Well, there will be, but not for him. If he keeps releasing songs like that.
Well, I tell you what, there will be another one of those, and that's another song that sounds like this by Bryan Adams.
Yeah.
It is.
Songs in the key of Bryan Adams, yeah.
Yeah, cannot rock.
Yeah.
Number 37 is Just a Touch of Love, Every Day by CNC Music Factory.
Yeah, straight for the pop charts, straight for the pubs and clubs. See the discussion about a soundtrack to someone getting a dart thrown at their forehead or something in a pub, seaside pub. No, this was the track afterwards when someone's mate came along who knew the guy that had been, had a bit of trouble and started on him.
Yes, it is. Hitman and Her Fodder, I just put.
Yeah, completely that. Completely.
Now, weirdly, in at number 38 is Promises by Take That. It's the first time we've seen him.
It might be, actually, yeah, because this is really early Take That, isn't it? So,
it's really early. That video, it looks so young, and the video is crap, and the song is crap.
Well, they look young. They're not all young. No. Robbie Williams was 16 at this time, I think.
He does look very young in the video.
But the rest of it, he was 16. The rest of them were 18 plus.
Yeah. It's very strange.
And so it is. And also, at this point in time, believe it or not, the true fact, they were doing a tour of secondary school halls.
Yeah, that's where they started.
They came to Havelock School in Grimsby.
Well, that's what Thingy did in America, wasn't it? New Kids, I think, and they started off. I think it was New Kids on the Block. They started off by going around schools and stuff to get a
It was if you're going to do that, and you got some gyrating teenagers, and that's going to impress the girls. Is principally what they were trying to do. You'd imagine you could never get away with any of that now. Can you imagine ringing up a school and going, "I've got a group of teenage lads who are going to come and gyrate and dance around the hall, very provocatively indeed. No one's going to be offended by that, are they? Any of the parents going to have any issue with that?" Nah, good. Well, we'll be there in 2 hours, and the rider's going to be 6 bottles of water and a packet of ecstasy tablets. You don't mind that, dear? It's all good. Off we go then. Those conversations. That's what Gary Barlow. Well, that sounds really good, that, doesn't it? Let's go and have that. Let's go to that school. It sounds good. That would have been Gary Barlow.
It's like we had a special guest on the podcast all of a sudden. Oh, thanks, Gary.
This podcast friend Gary. Yeah, it's the other one. It's podcast friend Gary Barlow. Hiya.
Stop it.
We've been trying to tell him that for years. He doesn't listen.
In at number 66 is Silent All These Years by Tori Amos.
You an Amos fan?
No, not massively. I appreciate some of her stuff, and I've never listened to much Tori Amos, but I thought this was a great song. Really, really gorgeous track. I thought it was great. I started listening to it going, this is really good. Just beautifully put together. Kind of like on the sort of splits the difference between kind of being a bit schmaltzy, a bit film-like sort of thing, but kind of just goes off in its own direction at times. It almost sort of falls over into being one of those things, but then she just does something interesting and it doesn't do what you think. The video is really good as well. I thought the video was really nicely put together. Yeah,
I mean, what you've said there is a perfectly brilliant summary of Tori Amos, isn't it? She just doesn't do quite what you think.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have a lot of exposure to Tori Amos either. which sounds, I don't mean I expose myself to anyone particularly, but I didn't have a lot of exposure to Tori Amos, other than the tracks that everyone, Professional Widow and all that sort of stuff later down the line. But when I listened to this, I thought, is Alanis Morissette and a Kate Bushy, if they were combined in the Brundle Fly Machine, you'd probably get Tori Amos out of that.
Perhaps, yeah.
She courted a bit of controversy in her time as well. Famously, she had one of her album covers caused quite the controversy, didn't it, where she was breastfeeding a piglet. And that's not me making, that sounds like something I would make up, but actually I'm not. It's a real thing. But I always quite liked the cut of her jib. A bit of difference. I like Kate Bush for the same reason. So
yeah, you're never quite sure where the song's going to go, and you think, and that was the same with this. Like, there's that little bit of off-key sections in this where like she doesn't. You're like, okay, yeah, it's just really good. It's just a really, really good song,
and a savant piano player as well. By the way, so,
yeah, very good.
Yeah.
In at number 68 is Black Metallic by the Catherine Wheel.
I'd never heard of this at all.
I've heard of Catherine Wheel. I remember trying to like Catherine Wheel back in the day. I just don't like his voice. And listening to it now, it's his haircut was one thing, but it's this fact still remains. I just can't stand his voice. And the video is another B-Tech video special.
This is the best of B-Tech, isn't it? This episode, it is a B-Tech special. That one, the level 2 B-Techs had a go this time.
Yeah, they did. 24th of November, in at number 6 is Ride Like the Wind, which, the next words out of my mouth should be Iron Maiden.
Yeah, it does sound like a Iron Maiden or a Spinal Tap track, actually, because they did Break Like the Wind, didn't they? So
yeah, but it's East Side Beat. Some hour of shite stuff.
It is properly hour of shite stuff, that. Yeah.
But in at number 9 is Smells Like Teen Spirit, also by Nirvana.
Famous, isn't it, that? Really?
Yeah, that intro, you just hear it and it's just, like I said, there's 4 chords, that 4-chord intro, just very simple.
As soon as you hear that,
you just know exactly where you are. I mean, song that pretty much kickstarted grunge, everything that came after, and 1,000 dance floor injuries. Yeah,
it did promote a lot of dance floor injury and everything else like that. And of course, it's got I actually remember it more for the drumming, actually, and the sort of crazy chorus, and people getting injured on the dance floor at Gulliver's as well. But it's a very good track.
I mean, we spoke about Nirvana quite at length with the album. I think that was last week or whatever, last time. And I mean, there's not much to say about Smells Like Teen Spirit. So it's just one of those, just massive singles that just everyone knows. It's just huge, just what it is, isn't it? It's, it's almost like you can be with that single. Like, if I never hear it again, I'm probably all right. But when I do hear it, I'm like, it's so good.
Yeah, it is good. And remember the video got some mileage, didn't it? A good video as well, as I recall.
Yeah, very good. They're all sort of going crazy in the
gym. Sports hall gym, wasn't it? I remember the cheerleaders and all that. Yeah, pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
In at number 10, it couldn't be more different, is When You Tell Me That You Love Me by Diana Ross.
Yeah. Diana Ross is harmless, I guess, to people, and therefore makes her, people like her. So I can't be one of them always. But
I know you should read the comments on this, but I was reading the comments on the song on YouTube for this sort of thing. They're very like, oh, this was my song at my mum's funeral. I lost my thing. It's like, oh my god, this is really. I stopped reading them after a little bit. It's like very depressing.
Some songs are a bit like that, but at the same time, people. What the good thing is that it's a reflection that songs mean things to some people. It's a nice song in that respect.
Oh yeah, nothing against it. It's fine.
No, it's just it, but it does make for a bit. When you're reading it, like, oh dear, that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah. And at number 15 is Sound by James, and I noted in the things when Tim Booth appears for the first time in this video, made me laugh out loud.
It did.
He just pops up. It cuts. It's like, I think it's a shot of a landscape, isn't it? And then it just cuts to him going.
Yeah, he's got a wangy eye. I didn't realise he had a wangy eye till that video.
But I didn't particularly like the song. It couldn't decide what it wanted to be, and it reminded me, as we've said with a lot of songs recently, it reminded me of U2.
Yeah, it does. And I think now they get quite matey with Brian Eno, as I recall, James, because they do a song. I don't know how much later it is than this one, but they do a song called Tomorrow, and the album version of Tomorrow. That's principally got the keyboards played by Brian Eno on it.
Okay.
So I suspect that, and Brian Eno has quite a lot to do with U2 at this point as well, and other things, shady underworld of music figure that he is. Not really that. He's just a very talented musician that pops up here and there. And I think that maybe that's why. But maybe it explains the U2isms. But the edits were on the beat at one point, weren't they? And do you remember our video tutor, Mr. Nigel Toombs, bless him, rest in peace?
Yes, I do.
He would have been proud of that beat editing, wouldn't he? Always edit on the beat. Remember, he used to say. His face was not Nigel Toombs' face, but the lead singer's face was a bit ghastly, I thought, after a while
when he pops up. Yeah.
Mm.
And at number 18 is Ecstasy by Shades of Rhythm.
Yeah, they can't spell ecstasy, can they?
No, what rave arse.
Yeah, you know what? It's just the Purdy Shuffle, which is principally the breakbeat that's been used at the background of this and about a million billion other songs. No, the Purdy is an amazing drummer, and I found a really good interview with him about that particular break that he plays on a drum kit, and then it got looped and sampled by everybody. But that sampling it and turning it into that, no. He wouldn't have liked that.
No. And number 20 though is Stars by Simply Red.
What is going on?
I don't know. It's a brave choice to dress like a 60-year-old woman, and I'm not knocking 60-year-old woman, but he's a 20-odd-year-old man. That bloody sarong thing he's got going on. Like,
it's so
what
wrong.
Are you wearing,
right.
man?
What are you wearing? What is he wearing? And someone with his complexion in the desert, I'm not buying that. He'd spontaneously combust.
His hair would just be like tinder paper.
He would just go supernova instantly. It would be stars. They'd be supernovas. But yeah, as you accurately point out, Housewife's favourite. My gosh, wasn't he just? Wow.
Yeah, this was everywhere at the time. I remember this being all over the place.
It was everywhere. You couldn't escape it.
Every pub you went into, it was bloody on.
I know. It's just like it had been released like snakes, and they just everywhere you went there was like you lifted up a rock and there he was hissing at you like, here it's that stupid Simply Red song. Get it out of here.
Yep, hated it.
Like cockroaches.
Mm-hmm. Number 22 is You Showed Me by Salt and Pepper.
Yeah, I guess. Kind of tuned out with them by now. I had.
Yeah, a bit more rap heavy than with some stuff we've heard recently from them, I think. But
yeah, another track for them though, in the key of yo, what you wanna, and wah. It's just that's that's the kind of style of theirs, isn't it? I guess. Not my thing.
It is.
I liked it when it was early days, but I'm not sure I'm going to be into it now.
No. And at number 24 is Judge Fudge by Happy Mondays. Again, another track I have no memory of.
No,
probably because it's not very good.
Yeah, it's
the
not.
video's weird.
It was. Fat, Drunk and Stupid is no way to go through life, as we've said many times. Clearly, this is produced by Paul Oakenfold, or one of the producers that they leaned into heavily. The Mondays had about as much to do with the creation of this track as I did.
I saw you on it. You're on the credits.
Exactly. They literally turn up and film videos at this point. It's probably smashed out their minds because it doesn't even sound. This sounds like that. You can hear the producers have made this. You can when you listen to it. It sounds so much like the Happy Mondays that it can't have been them. So
probably. And at number 25 is Wicked Love by Oceanic.
Oh, rubbish! Rubbish.
This is dreadful. The video has some very lurid shots, but they're kind of mirrored by the overuse of colour filters. It just renders them mute because you can't really make out what you're looking at. And I looked.
I was scanning that screen for ages. Way too much crotch shooting going on in there.
That's what I mean. It's just, stop it.
I think the cameraman was like, can we just do another take? I didn't quite get the crotch shot. We need more crotch shots.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's what he likes his crotch shot, that cameraman.
It's what you get if you employ Warwick Davis as your cameraman.
Hey, give me a camera. I've got another crotch shot to film. All right, Warwick, calm down.
Calm down,
Stop
Warwick.
Putting weird colorizations on the filters.
Yeah, it's all over the place. It's fair. It's not a good song, this.
No, it's
and
not.
at number 27 is Send Me an Angel by the Scorpions.
Yeah, go home. You're
More
done.
meaningful, soulful rock. Oh, God.
Yeah.
There's a bit when it fades into this guitar solo and he's just chokes emotion with his double neck guitar. It made me laugh loads. I was like, oh, God, man. It's so cliched.
You put double the neck, double the emotion.
I did.
which firstly, that sounds like something somebody would say over the advert for it. Buy the album, The Scorpions, Send Me an Angel, double the neck, double the emotion. It's a trailer moment, but also that's what he tells all the girls because he is actually double necked. He can fully rotate his head.
Wow. That's quite,
you know that.
Like a real scorpion.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, and he does have a poison stinging tail.
Although I don't think scorpions have necks, do they?
No, not as such. Well, they don't, but they do, but they don't. No, not these scorpions. No, not these versions. No.
And at number 37 is Martika's Kitchen by Martika.
Or is it?
Well, yeah, it was written by Princes, can't you tell? Video's odd, though. There's no cooking going on in that kitchen.
No, obviously not. I'm not sure, really. Famously, like you say, written by Prince. No idea why she sang this. For years, women's lib had emancipated themselves from notions of, the kitchen, only to her to bloody sing about having one all over again.
And at number 46 is Mama, I'm Coming Home by Ozzy Osbourne.
What is this thing?
The sepia in this video is off the chart. It's like, you can't have any more sepia in a video because this video has it all. He sucks it all from every other video to create the strongest sepia tone I've ever seen in my life.
This is a brown hole, isn't it? It's like a black hole. This is a brown hole. It sucks all the light in except brown. It's mad. I mean, they're all releasing these brown ballads, aren't they? I noticed that we called it ballad salad, but this is actually the brown ballad period of the ballad salad era.
Yeah.
It's the end of hair metal, isn't it? And who wanted that being signalled by the release of the brown ballad? Nobody wanted that.
Nobody was asking for it. No. Nobody wanted it. Nope. Finally, the last single for the month, in at number 63, we kind of mentioned this in the film last week. Mustang Sally by The Commitments.
Yeah, of course it is. All you want to do is ride. Yeah. Shut up. I don't like it. I never did.
No, I didn't either. Let's move on to the albums. In at number 19, 3rd of November, is Together at Last. Richard Clayderman and James Last. Is that like Together at Lasts? If that was plural, like they're around at his house.
I'm not. Why did that why did it happen?
I don't know.
Did someone yearn for that?
It was prophesied when the Clayman and the Last are together.
I bet he's like wet clay in Last's hands, bendy, moist, and shaped just how he likes it. He goes, "Come here, Clayderman." Oh yes.
He's actually called Richard Clay. But people just think he's really great because he's Clay, the man.
Oh dear, the whispering winds of time. It's like 28 days later again. Hello! It's like Day of the Dead, isn't it, when it goes to that city?
Which it would be like which it would be like listening to this next bloody album if you ever did. In at number 21, Internal Exile by Fish.
I'm hoping that's what he's labelled himself. He's in internal exile, so he's trapped in a house somewhere. I don't like it. He's in a goldfish bowl. Internal exile is the life of a fish, isn't it, really? It's a goldfish bowl, what he's describing there. Rubbish.
I guess. In at number 23 is The Best of Me by Maxi Priest.
It is. It's the best of him.
I know. And we don't deserve the best of him if we can't handle the worst of him.
That's the follow-on album, where he released the worst of compilation. It's all of his crappiest songs.
That shitty Facebook phrase that pops up every now and again. You don't deserve me at my best. Can't handle it or worse. Bog off.
Don't. It's those trite, stupid phrases that pop up on things like that.
Yeah, I hate them. Number 10th of November, in at number 1, we've already mentioned this, Shepherd's Pies by Enya.
Yes, exactly. Songs in the key of Enya.
Yeah, number 3 is Discography by Pet Shop Boys. You can tell we're getting to Christmas.
Can't you just singles collection, I believe, of theirs?
Yeah, sure. Like you said, I'm sure Brown Sauce has it.
He lives it. He lives that album.
He uses it as his sled.
He does, yeah, he does.
He has it nice and oiled.
Yeah.
And sled too.
He oils everything, to be fair.
It's just like he's keeping Shell in business.
He spends most of his life greased and oiled for reasons we don't even want to think about.
It's so he can fit through tight spots.
Exactly.
He's terrified of being, being caved in somewhere. And he always likes to be greased so he can just ease his way out.
And if he's ever locked out of his house, he can just climb in through the lock, can't he? Because he's only little and he just greases himself in. I'm off in.
Yeah. He bases himself on the tombs out of the X-Files. He just like squeezes in places.
Oh, that's gross. That's so gross. Gary is Tombs. It's gross.
Yeah. And at number 8 is Live Baby Live, or Live Baby Live, or Live Live Baby. Who cares? It's in excess.
Yeah, it's a live album of theirs, when they were on tour somewhere. Who cares? Yeah, you rightly say no one cared. Nobody wanted to listen to it.
Number 12, Headlines and Deadlines, the hits of Aha.
Yeah, another best of course. So Christmas best ofs.
Christmas, yeah. Number 16 is I Will Cure You by Vic Reeves.
The only album he ever did?
Yeah. There you go. I got to number 1, didn't it, with the single Dizzy and stuff?
Yeah, produced by his mates, essentially. Phil Oakey's in there, of course. So
yeah, absolutely. And then at number 19 is Sex Machine, the very best of James Brown by James Brown, I guess.
This is a recorded album of songs and not the sounds of him in an actual sex machine.
Or using it, yeah.
I'm always reminded of that amazing... You never know. That amazing Eddie
Murphy?
Eddie Murphy's impersonation of James Brown when he's going into the hot tub.
The hot tub, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, it's too hot. It's too hot for the hot tub. But in this one, he's in the sex machine. Get up, get on in the sex machine. Oh, yeah, I like it. I quite like James Brown and, but him in the sex machine.
I really hope our listeners are loving these, special guests we've got in each.
We've had them all this week.
James Brown for There's loads coming in this week.
Barlow and Brown get together at last.
It's the shittest solicitors ever.
Get out! Get on up! Guilty! Ha!
I think you're right there, Barlow.
I think you're right. He is guilty, Mr. Brown. You're right.
Mr. Brown. Number 22 is Bandwagon-esque by Teenage Fanclub.
Not a fan.
Good album. Only Teenage Fanclub album that I actually do like. It is a very good album.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. But I'm not going to take your word for it.
You don't have to. However, in at number 27 is Themes and Dreams. They're back. It's the Shadows.
With exactly the same line of tracks, but with maybe 2 different new ones in there from every other album they've done.
Yeah, probably.
So there's loads of tracks they've already done in there. It's classic Shadows. I noticed actually I'm wondering if the Shadows is now a shadow and it's just Hank Marvin and various electronic instrument drum machines and things, because it all sounded very Robotronic, with the exception of him, and he didn't sound quite as on form and on point as he normally does. No.
Well, there's a version, as you've pointed out in the first bit, you said, there's a version of Africa by Toto on here.
There is.
So I went and I thought, well, that's worth a listen. Oh, God. It's also wrong. It's just so wrong. I laughed my head off at it. And when the vocals come in, it's Hank's twanging.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I listened to it and I was like, wow, that's either got to be the on-hold music for an insurance company or the music you hear just before the gas gets released in one of those euthanasia pods.
Yeah, but it's like even the keyboard bits are wrong, aren't they? It's just, it's over the music. It's like it's like.
It's because it's like I said, I think it's him playing it. I think, I don't know. It's just very Robotronic. It's lost all the subtlety of Africa. Is lost in that version, and then then Hank comes along with his weird version of the vocals. It's like, I think that's actually him singing. That's how he sounds. That's not him playing a guitar. That's his vocal cords are just guitar strings.
It's just it looks down his throat, and it's just a fender down there. Oh.
Got a really long fretted neck.
Oh, that's not pleasant. But like, if Hank Marvin did all this himself in the studio, which is quite possible, that makes him akin to Trent Reznor.
Yeah, he's the alternative Trent Reznor, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Hank Marvin, Trent Reznor together at last.
If you put Trent Reznor and you took everything, if Trent Reznor they took all of the angst and anger out of Hank Marvin and it formed a Trent Reznor. So Hank is what was left.
It's the anti-Trent.
It's the anti-Trent.
Oh dear. It is 17th of November. Let's just get these done. In at number 1, straight in. We've talked about this. We Can't Dance by Genesis.
Yeah, they can't probably. Yeah.
No. In at number 4 is Real Love by Lisa Stansfield, her second studio album.
Yeah, second album. I wasn't a fan of. I like Lisa Stansfield's voice. Yeah, but you know what you're gonna get with this, don't you? So.
Yeah, exactly. In at number 24 was Loveless by My Bloody Valentine.
Not my thing at all.
No, it's shoegazy stuff, and not my particular thing either. In number 34 was Wall of Hits by Slade.
Wall of Shits, you mean?
Yes. Hey. Too obvious, man. Too obvious.
It is obvious, but not for Slade, it ain't. No. Radio Wall of Sound, remember? Radio Wall of Sound.
In at number 36 is the unforgettable Nat King Cole by
Nat King who?
I don't know. It's Arthur Cole's brother.
Oh, yeah, of course he is. Yeah. Oh, Coley. Yeah.
Coley. Yeah. And Andy Cole.
Yeah, of course he is, yeah.
In at number 24th of November, straight in, we talked about it. Number 1, Dangerous by Michael Jackson.
Yeah, big album.
Ironically kept number 2, Achtung Baby, your U2 off the top spot for the period.
Yeah, big album, that 7th studio album. That's the one, remember I said, produced by Brian Eno, of course, and Daniel Lanois. Yeah. I actually did end up buying that because I think everyone did. I think at a certain point you just issued it. I think, but one of those collection magazine things you get. And I remember having a couple of good tracks on it. There's one track on it in particular. I forget the name of it now. Gary might remember it because it's one that's basically created by Brian Eno on there, and it's heavily Brian Eno-y, and it's actually really good. I want to say it's like a cowboy song. I for the life of me remember what it's called now, but I remember it for that song, which is probably not the song they wanted it remembered for. In all fairness,
no, probably not. I listened to it, tuned out. No, not for me. Not.
Is it The Wanderer? I think it's called The Wanderer.
I've heard of that. Yeah. And at number 14 was Together with Cliff Richard.
Of course it is. He's back.
He's back for Christmas. So this is a Christmas album. Loads of his popular traditional Christmas songs. With an album cover of him standing on a Lego brick.
Yeah, the classic Lego brick. He actually looks like he's been freshly printed in that as well.
It does. They've just rolled a new one out, the cloning device.
It's a Cliff clone. Yeah, it's a Cliff clone. Clone Cliff clone. It's a Cliff like a clone. Clone Cliff. But that's what he is. And it's just the three wise kings at the bottom of the album cover. That and how schmaltzy is that?
I think he must be the artist we've spoken about the most.
He's got to be up there. I think he's had an album out every year of this podcast, or at least almost every month of things. He's been everywhere.
Yeah. Finally, number 20 was the definitive Simon and Garfunkel. Simon and Garfunkel.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I like a bit of the old S&G, don't you?
Yeah, they're fine. I've nothing against them.
Exactly, yeah. I know they had a massive battle between each other, didn't they? And there was the war of the Funkle. But
we call it the Great Cylon War. Yeah,
they fell out with each other. Well, it's Garfunkel did bring in a Cylon welcoming committee. He just didn't expect it to turn violent, which is odd because that's what always happens. But no, but it's a Cylon welcome committee. You don't book them. They're dangerous. They'll attack everybody. They don't like people.
They don't.
They don't even like the Ovians.
But they were cheap and they were all that was available.
You tried getting 1,700 people to a party at short notice. It was hard work.
The Star Wars Cantina band were already booked.
What about that triple-mouthed singer from the... she's dead. She died in the Ovian casino. She died. Yeah, they all did because they set fire to the planet by lighting a cigarette and it blew the entire planet up because that's what happens on a planet that's infinitely inflammable. Don't set a brightly lit casino on a flame world. That's, we all know that now, but we didn't know it then.
Absolutely. Words to live your life by. On that note, that's it. That's the music done for November 1991. There you go.
It is.
Some interesting tracks, some not very interesting tracks. We are going to go away, take a quick break, wet our whistles, and then we'll be back. And we'll be talking about the last two games for this week. So please do stick around.
The novel Escape from the Commodore 64 by David Hearn is out now. Growing up in the 80s is a chore for Sarah, who feels misunderstood by her parents and badgered by Reese, her bothersome brother who incessantly prattles on about his treasured computer games. When Reese tells her one of the games tried to pull him inside the computer, she laughs off his fanciful fib. She waggles the joystick to disprove his fairy tale and is pulled into the computer. Now trapped in games she'd never had any interest in playing, how can she possibly beat them? With the help of feisty Nell, another trapped player, can Sarah find her way back home, or is it game over? An evil madman, a hostile planet, bloodthirsty robots, a never-ending throng of karate experts, and relentless digital soldiers will do their best to ensure Sarah never escapes. Available from Amazon and all good online retailers, find out if there's a way out of the beige bread bin of betrayal for Sarah in Escape from the Commodore 64.
And we're back. Two more games to review. We hinted at this, that Graham might not be particularly happy about this. I don't know if he is. I don't know. I'm not privy to his thoughts, but it's another arcade conversion. It's Graham. Tell us all about your final fight with Final Fight.
Yeah, Final Fight, $10.99. This got, it was published by US Gold. Copyright Capcom, of course. Humongous, influential arcade that it be. It got 22% though in Zap. That's not a good score, is it?
That's not. Not when Robozone got 45 or whatever it got.
No, it's not good, that. It was produced by somebody called Creative Materials. That's the one thing they lacked. It was coded by Mike Hutchinson. He did Hard Driving, Double Dragon 2, E-SWAT, and Line of Fire. Good pedigree there. Good pedigree. Well done. Done. Golf clap for Mike.
Oh, no.
Graphics, I know. Graphics are by Andrew McCarthy. He also did E-SWAT, Hard Driving as well.
Oh, no.
Golf clap for Andy. And the musician's Dave Lowe. He did Power Drift. Power Drift music was all right. He's done a few other bits as well. This isn't his finest moment. I'll say that. This was released, obviously, in the arcades back in 1989. But since then, it's been released on everything in the world. So it was in the arcades, of course, then obviously the Amiga, the Atari ST, the Commodore 64, the ZX Spectrum, the Amstrad CPC, the Sharp X68000, whatever that is, the Sega CD, of course, the Mega CD version, which was a brilliant version, the J2ME version, the iPhone. It was also out on the Xbox 360 under their arcade. And I believe it's also out on it's out on my Hyper Megatech device because I've got it on that, which is, I think, an arcade MAME emulation. But it's out on loads of stuff. There's loads
I'm sure
on everything.
Capcom compilations all over the place.
Yeah, it is. It'll be on the Switch, I'd have thought, somewhere, or one of the Nintendo devices. I don't doubt it. It's on everything. And rightly so. What is it? I hear you say. Well, you'll know what it is. I mean, does anyone really can honestly say they've not heard of Final Fight? And so it's a 1989. This is from the wiki and other sources. 1989 beat-em-up game developed and published by Capcom for the arcades. It's the 7th title released for the CP system hardware. Don't you know? Set in the fictional Metro City, the player controls one of 3 Street Fighters: former pro wrestler and city mayor Mike Hagar, expert brawler Cody Travers, and modern-day ninja Guy, no surname required. The trio set out to rescue Jessica, Hagar's daughter and Cody's girlfriend, when she is kidnapped by the Mad Gear Gang. Classic setup, isn't it, that? The game began development as a sequel to the original Street Fighter, released in 1987 under the working title Street Fighter 89, but the genre was switched from a fighting game to a beat-em-up, and the title was changed to Final Fight following the success of Technos Japan's Double Dragon. It became a major commercial success in arcades, selling 30,000 arcade units worldwide, while becoming the highest-grossing arcade game of 1990 in Japan and the year's highest-grossing arcade conversion kit in the United States. The Super NES version also sold 1.5 million cartridges worldwide. That is a lot. It's now considered one of the greatest video games of all time. It spawned the Final Fight sub-series from the Street Fighter series, followed by several sequels. Its development team later worked on the original Street Fighter 2, and some of the characters from Final Fight later appeared as playable characters in other entries of the franchise, such as Street Fighter Alpha sub-series. The game is set in the fictional city on the Atlantic coast of the United States, like I said, called Metro City, analogous with New York City, it seems. According to the game's intro, in the 1990s, or 1989 in the Japanese version, the city's crime rate reached alarming levels, but since the election of pro wrestler turned politician Mike Hagar, I wish that was a real thing, as the new mayor, Metro City was changed and cleaned up drastically under his term. Hagar managed to suppress the crime rate of the city to the lowest point. While the citizens of Metro City were thankful for Hagar's hard work in curbing crime, the Mad Gear Gang, who had served as the dominant criminal organization of Metro City, would not go down so easily. Under the leadership of the crooked businessman Belger, the group attempted to bribe Hagar with a large payoff to keep him from going after them, to which Hagar refused. Determined to bring Hagar under the rule, like the last mayor before him, Mad Gear proceeded to kidnap his daughter Jessica and create further unrest among the citizens. When Hagar finds out about his daughter's abduction, he becomes furious and decides to take his fight against Mad Gear to a personal level. Seeking additional manpower, Hagar recruits Cody Travers, an expert fighter and Jessica's boyfriend, as well as Guy, a ninja in training, and Cody's good friend, or rival, depends how you look at it. These 3 dedicate themselves to complete the eradication of the Mad Gear Gang and to rescue Jessica from their clutches. The game gained notoriety for its unique continue screen, where the player character is shown tied to a chair with a lit bundle of dynamite on the table in front of him, and the character struggles to escape as the 10-second time limit counts down. If the player activates the continue option, a knife falls from the ceiling and cuts the fuse. Nice stuff.
That's good. That's a good idea.
So this is one of, not necessarily one of the most influential side-scrolling beat-em-ups, because it's one of the archetypes of this. Now, there's an amazing book which you can get from Bitmap, all about side-scrolling beat-em-ups, which is amazing. Go and get it. It's about 7 inches thick. It's a great read, and it's a weighty tome. Beautiful hardback, amazing print. I'm not overselling it. It is beautiful. I've got a copy myself. So go and get that book, and you can read all about this. So this was a very potent arcade, and I can remember the very first time I came across it. I can also remember the first time I came across all of the variants of this, because this went on to influence games like Streets of Rage on the Mega Drive and Streets of Rage 2 and all of that. And they're basically the same game. Because it's the archetype of a side-scrolling beat-em-up of this type, which is a kind of a Golden Axe style as well, of course, and all of that. So scroll a bit, fight a bit, scroll a bit, fight a bit, bosses, fight a bit, scroll a bit, nice backgrounds and stuff like that. Because it's one of those, it has a prevailing reputation as being one of the better ones of those, partly because it's got in the arcades, really great graphics, and partly because it had an awesome soundtrack, which, by the way, if you ever get hold of the Mega CD version, the soundtrack on that is a redone version of the arcade soundtrack specifically for the Mega CD by the same musicians, but they recorded it in a proper studio, and so you actually can hear like a really well-recorded version of the tracks, and they're amazing. And if you get the Mega CD version, you can play that CD in an audio player and listen to that. They're on YouTube as well. But this is the game. For me, this game was the package. I always had a mild obsession with side-scrolling beat-em-up games of all descriptions, but this was the one that found me, and I found it in the same way that Golden Axe found you, I think. So this was my Golden Axe for me. This is the game. I still play it now. I even particularly bought the Capcom hyper megatech mini device because it had Final Fight on it. I still love it to this day. So my favorite arcade games and one of my favorite games to play of all time on anything. And this influenced the games that I enjoy on every system as well. It's not like, and I'm not wanting to over egg the pudding here, but later down the line, I had a big break from gaming, as you will know. When I got back into it, which was, you're responsible for really, because I remember going to your house and you were showing me these games. The games that really appealed to me were God of War 2, the God of War games, and of those, because they are descendants of this kind of game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They are of this genus. Side-scrolling, beat 'em up, that kind of action game. So, to the C64 version then, because that's enough pointless hyperbole. So there's 9 levels to this C64 version, in short, in combination of the bonus levels and the levels. And that's actually in the arcade. There's 6 rounds is split into the sections of the city. It starts on the streets of Metro City, then you've got a subway, West Side, industrial area, Bay Area, and Uptown, and each one of those has its own boss and its own sort of different types of play. One of those is like an elevator, for example, and that's all in the arcade, and that's all well and good. The C64 does have stages, not that you'd necessarily know that they were different stages, other than maybe some of the graphics on them. They are quite cut down from the arcade in many, many, many ways. There is an intro sequence for the C64 version, which is a separate load, and it loads a complete silent version of a variant of the opening track sequence of the arcade. The track sequence of the arcade is images of the city, Hagger sat at his desk. Again, classically, they get the phone call, Mr. Hagger, he, and all of that, and they sort of say, we've got Jessica, and da-da. There's that sequence in the arcade with all the great music and everything. Take the music off that, and you've got the C64 version, albeit that it's been kind of badly scanned or drawn. It's not great. It needs the music. Why the music isn't on it is just stupid, because they've got the music and it wouldn't have been any great shakes to put it on. It's not like what they're doing is taking up all the memory of the C64. It's a collection of images, really. So it just shows at this early point that the people who were making this did not give a crap about what they were making. And that is crime for me, number 1. Anyway, to the game then. So you'll get past the intro sequence, all right? And it is of the arcade, I suppose, and that's the best you can say. And it looks a bit like it, but And then you get to the game itself. You get a nice bright version of the Final Fight logo on the screen. It's not very good. It looks like it's been positioned in front of a load of cheese crackers and some pine cones, weirdly, or 2 giant turds on the right. I don't know what they were thinking. And you can press fire 1/2 to begin play. This is, believe it or not, 2-player or 1-player. It's a 2-player co-op game or 1-player, which did throw me, in all fairness. I didn't remember that, but it is. And when you do that, you get to the choose your player screen. And in all fairness, this is I won't say it's like the arcade, but it is the same selection screen. The graphics fidelity is not there, but it does look a bit like the arcade at this point. And at this point also, you've got music going off. It's a crap version, though, of the arcade music. Really, it's wrong. The timing's wrong, which means a lot to somebody like me, because I really like the music for this. So I was like, that's doing my head in. But anyway, you can choose at this point, if it's 1-player or 2-player, they can choose whether you're going to play Hagger, Cody, or Guy. Now, in the normal run of things in the arcade, that makes a difference. Not in this one, it doesn't, though. Not in the C64, not really.
No, it doesn't.
So, was it a stretch too far to think the C64 was ever going to turn in a decent version of this, do you think? No, because in the right hands, there's space for this kind of game on the C64. We've seen it, haven't we? There's been other games of this type. They've not all been perfect. In fact, not many of them have been very good. But there have been the odd 1 or 2 that prove that this can be done. I always think of Usagi Yojimbo when I think of a game like this. I know it's not exactly the same game archetype, but there are large form characters running across screens, chopping stuff up and doing stuff. If that isn't the model of a beat 'em up, or even Fist 2 with larger characters and that wasn't perfect, I know, but what I mean to say is that these
Target
can
Renegade.
be done. Yeah, and Target Renegade. These games can be done if they're done in the right way, can't they?
Even the original Renegade was okay.
So there's space for it. There's space, isn't there? Not like this, though. Not if you've done it like this. No. I mean, I should also note, like I said, this is one of my favourite arcade games. So I hate to say this, but I have got a bit of familiarity bias. I have, because I am very close to the arcade. I know it very, very well indeed. I've played every version that you can name of this, every variation of this. There isn't many I haven't played. So, like I said, the intro sequence is there. It aligns to the arcade, albeit no music. Then you get to the sort of weirdly silent choose your screen. You get to the game, and then, okay, so at this point, you might be forgiven for thinking, okay, there's enough here of the arcade to warrant it being described as okay. Not at this point. Remember, the game hasn't started yet. This is just getting up to this point. Then the game starts, doesn't it? And you have the semblance initially of some okay graphics with a passable title screen. Like I said, And then you get to press the fire button and you'll start the game off. And you bring up that selection screen. And after that, the game's going to start. Okay. And then you're presented with initially a reasonable attempt at some background details of an arcade. It's obviously been C64ified, but I'll give it credit where credit's due. At this point, it's not terrible. It doesn't look bad. The backgrounds, remember. Mm-hmm. The top 6 or 7 rows of the screen are the UI. This shows the character you're playing, or both if you've been 2 players, the number of lives left, your energy, the name of the character you're engaging with, Bread, Dagger, Pete, whatever they call them, and the energy and their energy, the time that's remaining, and the number of credits you've got so you can continue if you want to. You can only do that 5 times though. Below that is the main game window. It functions like Final Fight in that you progress so far across the screen, and then you have a bunch of enemies to fight, or say when you start the game, they just appear, but they are there. And beating those up means you can progress a little further, and then more will appear or shuffle onto the screen, and then you'll fight some more, and so on it goes. It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up of that type, so it does that. And like every other side-scrolling beat-em-up of this type, unlike the arcade, which also features additional weapons to pick up and use, the C64 doesn't feature any of that I could identify. Mm-hmm. Indeed, you can smash some of the scenery like you can in the arcade, so phone boxes and dustbins, but they just reveal food, which you can use to replenish your health, but no pipes, no knives, no weapons of any kind, at least not as far as I could identify. That's an important omission because each of the characters has a specialization, and Cody's specialization is knives and knife throwing. He's an expert with them, and Hagger's got super strength, so when he picks up the pipe and uses it, or baseball bats, that's an important addition to his power ratio in the game. And when you're playing a 2-player game of this, those dynamics are crucially important to how Final Fight works. Fundamentally, if you take that out, then you're taking out one of the key dynamics of the game. That's a problem, a big problem. Okay, park that for a minute. Also, there aren't a lot of enemies on the screen with this. The arcade generally works like a typical side-scrolling beat-em-up, so enemies pile on. Some of them are special weapons or skills, all themed to the environment. Punks, the street trash, street punks, those kind of things. We've seen it in loads of other games of this type. There's mid-level bosses, bigger bosses, multiple bosses. It's an archetype game, so it upholds the rule of the side-scrolling beat-em-up archetype. Not so much the C64, though, which features many of the same enemies over and over again with slight colour variations. No more than 2 or 3 on the screen, generally, at any given moment, and all moving around really sluggishly as well. Really slowly. The arcade's pretty nippy. It's an arcade, granted, but it's pretty nippy. And there's a lot of movement going on. There's a lot of fighting going on, and we'll come back to the key concept of that in a minute. Graphics for the characters are really bitty and undefined, and the animations for the fighter moves are inexplicable and offer nothing but a contorted array of pixels after exhaustive fidgeting around with the controls. Everyone looks more or less the same. I suppose some of them look like a version of an arcade counterpart-ish, some of the enemies, but it doesn't really look much like Cody. It looks nothing like Hagger. They all kind of are the same sort of stature, and Hagger's a giant wrestler kind of guy. These dynamics are important because they're important to the game. That has a direct impact on the dynamics and the way that the game is designed. Again, I'll come back to why all of this matters. So I guess what you could describe these kind of as muddy medium res, really. They're muddy. They look kind of muddy and grubby. It leaves them looking smaller than they should be, less capable than they should be, and fundamentally not very nice to look at all for a long length of time. Backgrounds, not so much. They're okay, but everything else in front of it, rubbish. The key part of this game is right there in the title, isn't it? The word fight. The game is fundamentally built around the fighting and the moves you have available to each character. Again, wholly to the archetype of these games. But each of the characters in the arcade have different moves, different speeds, special moves, and powers that give the game both 1 and 2 player dynamics. That's the important aspect of Final Fight. If they were exactly the same, and if you could do no more or less with each of the characters, it would be boring because you just walk along kicking and punching. Be like Kung Fu Master. Kung Fu Master was exciting because you got different variations of characters, enemies. Some jumped, some didn't, some threw knives. That's similar to this idea, but you've got variations of different moves, and you could do punches and kicks in Kung Fu Master. And it's important that you have those dynamic variations. So if you take the control of that out of this, and if you take the mechanic of that out, you're changing the balance of the way this game fundamentally works. So if you want to play as Hagger, he's slower but stronger and has some great wrestling moves. He can pick up and throw people around and do all that sort of stuff. Rather play as Cody, he can do jumping spin kicks and he moves faster and has slightly less strength and energy, but he can then also pick up knives and throw them. They all have their moves, and they can even perform co-op moves together in the arcade. So if you have 2 of them together, they can one can hold the other one while they throw the other one around, and they can jump off walls. they use the environment and the dynamics of the environment to add extra dynamic to the game and to the way that they play. So it isn't just side-scrolling beat 'em up. It's what fundamentally makes it a final fight. That's the big difference here. It wasn't just Street Fighter walking to the right. There was dynamics and other things, and that makes it pretty exciting. C64 version? No. The controls are via joystick and function more like a riddle-me-ree of what might happen. It's literally a guessing game of what move's going to happen and when and in what time frame. And then just to make sure the combat is extra crappy and awkward as possible, the collision between you and the enemies is off the chart stupid. You might hit the enemy, you might not. You never really know. Sometimes you'll do a jump kick and fly past the enemy, and then a second later, they take the impact. It's really stupid. It makes no sense. The combat, the fight of Final Fight is a malfunctional, clumsy garbage. And that's inexcusable in this. It's inexcusable and a shame, because there are other aspects of this that are a little bit more passable. They're not great, but passable. So there's bugs in here too. If you jump too high, you get a weird raster glitch at the top left of the screen. I'm like, why? Why hasn't that been fixed? Why didn't you sort that out? This is a big license of a big game. This is a huge arcade. So there's glitches in there. The characters move around really weirdly. I mean, some of the animations when you do some of the moves, it's almost Ya Kung Fu levels of bizarre, the sort of positions they find themselves in, At one point, I don't know what he did. It looked to me like he'd snapped himself in half and put his ass where his face should be and then stuck his leg out. I'm like, what happened to him? What ninja move has he just done? And it didn't seem to have an effect. And then all of a sudden, two of the characters just threw themselves on the floor. I'm like, did I hit them? Did something happen? It's awful. Awful fighting. Awful. So you're shuffling these characters around with a joystick with no real purpose. Half the time, they don't really fight back anyway, the enemies. And if they do, it's not challenging because this C64 version isn't challenging. I made my way through pretty much 90% of this game without really losing much energy or life. And yes, I've played this game a lot, but it didn't take a lot to do this. You could just kind of walk around the enemies in circles and just keep kicking them, and maybe you pushed them, maybe you punched. At one point when I was playing as Hager, I was able to pick up people and throw them around, but I didn't seem to, it did it arbitrarily. It's like it did it itself. I didn't know if I was controlling it. I was like, what is happening here? So the arcade is a very challenging experience. It's a tough old thing. Hence the reason you pump loads of 10p's and loads of continues into it. This C64 version isn't. So you'll fight-ish and you'll walk, kinda, and gradually work your way through the levels if you wish to. The bonus screens are there. Maybe you just want to smash up a car. I don't know. It's not done very well, though, in the C64 version. It really isn't. Everything's slow, way too slow. The fighting is utterly rubbish. There's no in-game music of any kind and only perfunctory sound effects. So what you're left with, well, not a lot. The real pain for me out of all of this, and I'll end this review with this. The real pain for me is knowing what this could have been and should have been and how much better it could have been, because we've seen games that are better than this, earlier than this. Or, and here's an idea, maybe just don't release this on the C64. If this is the best you can do, and you look at it and you go, well, you know what? This isn't going to pass the quality inspection. Let's just not release it. Let's just delete the discs. Let's put a giant magnet, put it over the C64 and the TV, and let's throw all the equipment out into a dustbin. Let's just never talk about this again. We can all agree on that, but that isn't what happened, is it? So there's loads of endless, boring levels to this if you can be bothered to play through them. I don't know anyone that would. If you really want to fight, such as it is a fight, the same enemies as they wander around while you flip and flap around with no real control over anything, over a slow-scrolling, maybe well-drawn background now and again, I don't know you're going to get much fun out of that. It's dreary and funless, and it ain't no final fight. What did you think?
Oh, yeah, what's happened here? What is this fresh hell that's been served up before us? I think, like you said, the sprites are not bad, I guess, when you first see them in the backgrounds.
Yeah.
I thought the character select screen made me laugh because there are the versions of the arcade, but it's like
a bit more surprised. Yeah.
They didn't need sound effects. I could hear them.
Their expressions are genuinely a bit more medium res 8-bit for sure.
Yeah. So that's one thing, I guess. The background's not terrible, like I said. But playing this is a terrible exercise in boredom and frustration. The response time on doing anything is painful. You'll move the joystick and then something will happen.
Yeah, it's so bad.
What? And it's quite possible to just wander down the street doing the high forward flying kick. Proceed like that. You can just repeat that. Just do the high if you can pull it off repeatedly, because it's not always, doesn't it always seem like the same joystick movement and combo does the same thing. Sometimes I'd just stand there sometimes and just put my arm out towards them like I was doing a ballet move. And I'd be like, I'm like, I'm sure that was the high kick a moment ago.
Did I do that?
Yeah, what's happening? Oh, God. So yeah, if you just do that forward flying kick, they'll just get kicked back. But like you said, you'll do the kick, you'll fly past them, you'll land, and then they'll fly backwards. You're like, oh God, this is just rubbish. It's dreadful thing. Makes me yearn for the good old days of Double Dragon.
Yeah.
And the like. I mean, like I said, I mentioned it when you were looking for the games. Target Renegade is 3-4 years old now and absolutely destroys this in terms of visual, sounds, controls, enemies. Even Renegade 3, which I didn't particularly like, but better than this. There's other games, even the original Renegade. We're going to have a look at that again. It's like, you know what? That's actually not too bad. But this is just so bad. Everything's wrong with this. Even the one enemy at a time Golden Axe showed that these games were not out of the realm of possibility on the machine.
No.
That had compromise and stuff like that, but got a gold medal. And is actually, it's had some great background graphics, and actually the sprites and stuff, they just compromised in certain different ways. It is what it is. But this is another travesty because it's barely playable. And that's the problem with this final fight. You can't play it because there's, this is Wild Streets level of crap because you just wander down doing the same thing. Forward kick, forward kick, forward kick, forward kick. So what a horror. Such a horror. A horror.
It is. It's a beat 'em up without the beat, isn't it? A fighting game without the fight. How many times did you fight a character called Bread? I had so many fights with Bread, slow fights, more like fidgets, really. Is this Final Fidget more than Final Fight, do you think?
I think so, yeah. It's just rubbish. It's just a really, really bad, another bad conversion. But creative materials, what did you say they'd done? Let me have a look.
I don't think I dare.
eSWAT and Line of Fire. Oh, God.
And Line of Fire was rubbish. We made a point of saying how rubbish that was.
Yeah.
And this isn't better. $10.99 they're trying to charge people for this. Outrageous.
It really is. It's dreadful. It's a dreadful, dreadful thing. Final Fight, utter garbage. Don't play it. Well, do play it and have a laugh. There's just nothing to play. That's the problem. No,
go and play the proper version. I mean, I think there's even an online version of this you can play. So
yeah, there's no reason to ever go back to this. I mean, we did it because it was part of the. But this is one of those we're doing you the favor.
Yeah, just go and get yourself a Hyper Mega Tech Capcom edition. Play it on that.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Final Fight. Whew, crap. Let's move on. We've still got one more game to do this week, so let's get to that. And that game is Tony La Russa's Ultimate Baseball.
Ooh.
£25.99.
That's quite a lot.
That's a lot of money back then. That's like 70 odd quid. That's modern game prices. It's disc only, of course. And this is Tony La Russa's Ultimate Baseball. I don't know. Like I did, you might be asking, who the hell is this Tony La Russa guy? Who is he?
Who is he?
I don't know. Well, he's a big deal around this time in baseball. I looked at his wiki, and I can see why they made a game of him. His Major League Baseball career spanned from 1963 to 2022, 60 years in several roles. He's the former manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, Oakland Athletics, and Chicago White Sox. In 33 years as a manager, La Russa guided his team to 3 World Series titles, 6 league championships, 13 division titles. His managerial total of 2,884 Major League Baseball wins is second only to Connie Mack's. So, and I don't know who Connie Mack is either. I don't know anything about baseball apart from Babe Ruth. But anyway, I guess these people are really, and so he's clearly very, very big in baseball. So fair enough. That's why he's got his game. Yes, it's a baseball game. It's a baseball game. This only came out on the C64 and DOS, so a bit of a rarity in these late days of the machine. Lots of credits on this, though. Lots of people worked on this. This was published by SSI, that's Strategic Simulations Incorporated, so you and I. This was designed by David Bunnett, Don Daglow, Hudson Peel, Mark Buccianani, and Michael Breen. The coder was Mark Buccianani, again, with graphics by Arturo Sinclair and David Bunnett, and the music is by George Alistair Sanger. That's some weird names, some strange names. There's the usual SSI intro here, lots of loading in between. So we get the SSI logo from the game logo with an image of what we get the SSI logo, then we get the game logo with an image of what I presume is Mr. La Russa, I'm guessing.
Must be him.
It's got some American-style C64 music that includes a quite horrible, I think it's a square wave noise, just random. The music just played every now and again, just go, kurr, kurr. I'm like, ooh, that's quite horrible. So once that's done, we get the credits. And I don't know how you felt about this bit, Graham. As I know you like your typography, Did you like the fact that all the text from this point is done on the dotted background, which I think is supposed to be like a scoreboard type thing?
No, it's really hard to read it. No, impossible to read at certain points.
I know. I was like, well, I can see what they were going for. They were going for that sort of dotted outline, like, a scoreboard thing, but it just made it dead hard to read anything. So it's dead hard on the eyes, this bit. After the credits, we get to pick 2 teams. And I found this quite strange because that's all this game is. It's just a one-on-one game. It's just a game. You just play a game of baseball. There's no cups, no leagues, there's no World Series or anything beyond just a standard single game of baseball. And that's not what I was expecting from, SSI, strategic, whatever it's called, what are they called again? Strategic Simulations Incorporated. You have that name, you're kind of expecting like full-on roster and leagues and, all that kind of stuff and save loads and all that sort of stuff, but none of that. But you can pick from any of the 26 teams, and then you pick who they're going to play off against. And then we get to some what they call ground rules. So here you can have the designated hitter on or off. You can select the difficulty level, pro or rookie, and whether the teams are controlled by humans or CPU. The issue here, and we've said this before, the options on the right of the screen, they're in white and red. And there's no indication as to which is which. So you don't know if white means that's the one that's selected or red means it's selected. You just kind of like have to go. I'm guessing that white means that the option is selected. You don't know. I mean, also as well, in game, it sometimes gets a bit confusing as well. But anyway, once you've done them, you get to pick your starting lineups. And then there's the batting order. And you can go into detail here if you know what you're doing, or you can just simply press the fire button a couple of times to get to the game. You can just start off if you want, but you can tinker around as much as you want. I hadn't got a clue about baseball, so I just clicked through them. But just because also remember that at this point, all the text is on that dotted background, so it'll give you a headache if you stay too long on those screens. It's hard to read and hard to pass. And its colour choices are weird as well, like yellows and cyans and stuff. It's like a odd stuff going on. Once you get to the game, we get a remarkably similar view of the pitch as we did in RBI2 baseball not that long back. Very, very similar thing because
very similar
from behind. From the behind the batters area, we got that sort of triptych look again. The fielding. So from first, we have the shot of the sort of from behind the sort of batters area. The fielding team all run on. They're a bit. I think the sprites are a bit bigger in this than they were in RBI. They're a bit better animated. It's a bit slower though. They run on. They all go off to place. You press fire. That scrolls the screen across, and your batter comes running on, or the CPU batter, whatever it is. And then the game switches to, again, pretty much the same view as we saw in RBI2. It's that triptych layout. The middle of the screen switches to a close-up view, so the sort of vertical split on either side. And the middle sort of vertical panel is a close-up view from behind the batter with the pitcher in the distance. It's pretty much RBI2. It's very much the same. On the side of the screen, we have the batting, but in the bottom left and right corners, we've got the batting and pitching options. And you've got some, it's just usual. So you've got arrows next to these. So if you're the pitcher, you can, you write for a fastball, up for a curveball, slider, all those sort of things. You just press the direction of the button you want to do it in. And there's a pitcher. As the batter, you can, go for a bunt, or you can a power shot, or just normal and things like that.
Yeah.
One thing you can do, though, there's this other option down the bottom. It says manager. And if you press that, then it's you get another option here, which allows you sort of change some bits and bobs up. But one of them is the computer. And so you can basically, if you don't want to do it, you can just switch your team's control to the CPU and just take it, just sit back and relax and kind of play a manager a little bit. But you can take it back anytime just by moving the joystick when the choices come up. So that's actually quite good. You can, on the fly, you can change. But once choices have been made, you've moved the joystick, you pitch what you want to do. The pitcher throws the ball. This is done in a weird way because you pick what you want to do. But the normal way to do this is you sort of press the fire button and move in a direction, don't you? But here you don't have to press the fire button. But here you don't press the fire button. You tap a direction. And the longer you hold it, the more severe the direction is. So if you want to do what they call down the pipe, which is straight away, you just tap any direction, tap the joystick in a direction, and it'll go straight down, the middle of the pitch. Yeah. The longer you hold it, the more it'll fling out to the left, right, up or down, or whatever. So that's how you do it. When the ball's coming to the batter, then decides to swing. You can try and hit it. If you hit it, then it switches to a wider angle. This shows where the ball is heading, and the fielders try and get it, flick screens a little bit, or it just powers out, if you got a home run or whatever. And then if you collect the ball, you can press up, down, left, or right to throw it to the various bases. And that's it. And so on. It's baseball. There's not that much more to say, because it's another baseball game with the usual baseball rules and the usual baseball options, just very limited because it's just a one-on-one game.
Yeah.
The all the sort of things you'd expect are there. 3 outs, strikes, balls, bunts, everything you'd expect from a baseball game is here. Power shots, everything, fastballs, curveballs, steal bases, and it works as it should do. This is fine. It's a baseball game. It's not. It is. It just feels a bit sluggish though, and it's a bit too similar to the recent released RBI 2, which makes it feel somewhat redundant at this stage. And 26 quid. You're going to have to really love Tony La Russa to buy this.
Why is it so expensive?
I don't know. There's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with the visuals. There's some nice touches, some little animations dotted about the place. The bat and the picture is decent when the zoomed up bit. But when all is said and done, and we said this with RBI, hardball still exists. It
does,
and neither of those games are as good as that. Just go play that instead. For the price of this, I would have expected a much, much deeper simulation, a lot more options, a lot more things to do. I'd have expected a full-on, like, you could play, single player, you are a player in the thing. You could have had, proper managerial options and all those things that.
Yeah.
Way more depth and detail that you could have gone in for this, things that could have happened through the league. But none of that's there. And I think it's just too expensive. The entire World Series should have been here, but you get none of it. So it feels very slight for a lot of money. 26 quid back then was a lot of cash.
It's a lot of money. I said,
and we've talked about hardball, and I'm pretty sure we've seen it on budget by now. So this feels like something, very thin and very, very late to the party. And for 26 quid, I don't really see the point of this. RBI 2 came out a few months back, and it probably plays better than this, and is a better game, and is cheaper. If you wanted that kind of view to play RBI 2, it got, what did it get this? It got 71%. Seems a bit high, because I'd have marked it down loads. I'd have marked it down loads for that price. You can't have, saying, well, it's 7 out of 10 or whatever, but because that price is too, just it impacts on it. And there's really not enough depth here. So it's not terrible. It's a very, very expensive, thin game, and I don't get it. So that's Tony La Russa's Ultimate Baseball. There's not a lot else to say about it. It's too similar to RBI Baseball. So there you go. What did you think?
Exactly the same. I thought this just seemed to be, firstly, I was shocked by the price, I have to say, because I was thinking nobody's going to buy it at that. Nobody. That's more expensive than, you're talking about, you're not far off an eighth of the price of a console at this point.
Yeah.
And this is a 16-bit price. What are they doing? I don't care how in depth it goes, which wasn't actually that far. It just felt like maybe there's a good simulation there, but for a silent sort of baseball simulation, nobody was going to buy this in the UK. I don't know quite what they thought or who they thought the audience for this was going to be. I just felt a little bit like, what's the point of this? It didn't feel like it was very much fun to play. I sort of had a bit of an experiment with it. The views and the way it played was similar to loads of other games, but by now we've got so many baseball games that are going to be budget, haven't we?
Yeah, probably.
And we've already played quite a few baseball games that are better than this. I don't know. It just felt like it was a bit too late and too expensive to be really taken seriously. Now, is it a great baseball game? Well, I don't know. I didn't go that far into play a whole, round of baseball or whatever they call it, or a whole innings or whatever they call it. All I could tell you is that if I was into baseball, I would have considered it expensive. If I was a fan of Tony La Russa, whoever that is, I still think it would have been expensive. This is obviously some kind of import from the US, I guess, or something like that. And maybe it's inherited the pricing structure for this. I can't even see this getting distributed. Why this ended up on Zapped Store, I don't know. I thought this was, I'm not going to say it's a bad game. I'm just going to say it's a bad price at this time for the C64, and probably just, I don't know quite what they were thinking in releasing it, if I'm honest. Maybe they just felt compelled to, I don't know. But I didn't get much from it, and I didn't think it was very good in its entirety at what it was pitching that it was, pardon the pun. But no, it was all bunt for me, and no no rounders.
No home
which
run.
Probably isn't anything to do. No, that's the word I was looking for.
I'm glad to help you out. By the way, Hardball was £3. It had a Kick-3 release by this point.
So who's going to pay 25 quid for this? No one.
When you could get the same experience, the better experience with Hardball for £3.
Yeah, Hardball's way better than that. It's just, it's ridiculous. And to give it 71% is just utterly stupid. So, no.
Yeah. There you go. That's it. That's Tony La Russa's Baseball. And that's it for our first 4 games for December, November, whatever it is, 1991. We looked at the rather smashing Smash TV.
We did.
The rather rubbish Robozone.
Yeah, we did.
The even worse Final Fight.
Utterly terrible.
Yeah, and the rather expensively redundant Tony La Russa's Ultimate Baseball.
Yeah. So good. Smash TV wins the day there, doesn't it, really, by major leagues.
Yeah. Shows what the machine can do. Shows what it can do in the right hands. But yeah, so that's it. Next week, 2 weeks' time, we will be back because next week we are going back to the past.
We are.
So it's very confusing. We're picking up some of those games we missed in the old Zaps. So the issues 1 to 6. We've still got a few games to pick up. So we're going to be doing that next week because we're away on work and holiday commitments and things like that. So, but we still want to give you something to listen to. So it'll be a shorter episode, obviously, but it'll be some games that we missed from way back in the day. So you've got that coming next week. When we come back the following week, we'll continue on with December 91. We'll be looking at WWF, which is World Wrestling Federation, not World Wildlife Fund. We'll be looking at Rugby, the World Cup.
Oh, killer.
Turtles, the Coin Op 2, whatever it is. Teenage Mutant Ninja the Coin Op. It's got numerous things. And Pit Fighter.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, so I have no idea what this is going to be like. Who knows? So we've got 3 beat-em-ups and a rugby game. Really?
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see how that works. Obviously, wrestling's a beat-em-up, I guess. But it is. So that's what we've got coming up for the next time. But as I said, next week we are going back to the past for some older, maybe better games. 1985 style games. So who knows? But if you want to support the podcast as we continue on towards the last year of covering Zap or covering the games that were in reviewed in Zap, you can do that by joining our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Zapped to the Past. It's cheap. It's way less than the price of a pint of beer. Get the episodes early, ad free, get access to the Discord and all those kind of things. Get discounts at the zapstothepast.shop, where you can get the recently added Lave to the Dizzo t-shirt, which is as I said, very popular. People already have it. You can get that. So, or you can buy it at Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Zapped to the Past, or just come and hang out on social medias when we're about. And we always sort of post something each week. But yeah, so that's us. That it. I think that's about it. Anything else you want to add, Graham?
No, that's it. I'm gonna have a few more blasts on Smash TV and pretend that Final Fight is not existing for the C64 because that's easier for me to deal with.
It's I can imagine. I thought I'd have to give it to you because I need it. I know you like Final Fight, so
I love it. It's not more than like, and it's just silly to try that. Yeah,
silly. So there you go. So with that, we will say goodbye, and we'll see you again next week. Like I said, we'll be going back to the past, and hopefully you'll enjoy the things that we talk about next week. So as ever, I have been Adrian Mills,
and I have been Graham Raddings,
and you have been listening to Zapped to the Past. We'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Zapped to the Past podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of Commodore 64 games, as well as the music, films and TV from around the 1980s, driven, of course, by the issue of Zap 64 magazine published at that time. We will return with a whole new batch of games and stuff to talk about next week. Until then, if you want to listen to or download previous episodes of Zapped to the Past, and why wouldn't you, they can all be found on our website at zappedtothepast.com, as well as being available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Audible, Player FM, and well, pretty much anywhere where we can upload them. By the way, we do always love to hear from our amazing listeners, so if you'd like to contact us about anything in the podcast or beyond, you can do so by emailing us at zappedtothepast@gmail.com. We're also active on Twitter under @ZapTothe, as well as Facebook, Instagram, and most social media platforms. Just search for Zapped to the Past and you'll find us. Oh, and if you like the podcast and what we're doing, please do like, share, review, rate us. It really helps. Something, apparently. The Zapped to the Past podcast is written and produced by Adrian Mills and Graham Raddings, and recorded at Flaky Bits 2.0 Studio. All opinions expressed are those of the writers, and while we indeed love Zap 64 magazine, the Zapped to the Past podcast is not affiliated with it in any way. Stay safe, see you next time, and remember, we play these games so you don't have to.